Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay.
A little bit of land goes a long, long way. If you believe everything is okay, a little bit of land goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rigs today. Everybody saying money, love, money, 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 more money, more money. Money is my God. Money is my God. Money is my God.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome everyone, we are back after a long week without publishing anything, skipping one live stream, but I am finally here. And if you can hear me strange, it's because I'm in an empty room that my parents are renovating, so you might feel some echo coming from the rest of the room. But we're here. We are finally here. So before everything, let's greet the chat and everybody that's joined us right now. So we have Ann Tyler, Mariano Possi, Serkan, Corinne Mercury, Mario, Caro, Nora, Coffee, Jasper Martin, Liz Andalone, Shadow, Jackna, Daisy Rabbit, San, Metal Head Girl, Armate, Melanie, Louise, Connor, Aaron Fools, Zoe, Nell Rose, Vanessa Villanueva. My name is unimportant. I guess so. Don't know if that's his name. Norveg, El Polito, Family Funny, Davin, Tarciso, David, Tukia, Quadonte, Asia, Nightmare, Maria P, Quincy Paul, and Shamira, and everybody else that just joined right now. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Vanessa, for sending us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. I'm still getting used to getting money from the live stream. I still think it's amazing. Thank you so much. It's really, really appreciated, especially because of something I'm going to show you like in a second. So let's jump in a couple of things before we begin. First of all, I have to apologize to one of our viewers called Kevin Hoffman, because a couple of weeks ago we had all the things with Patreon going on, and I was really stressed. There was a ton of shit to do. We had to prepare to move. I was in kind of a bad headspace, and he made a comment that could have been easily misconstrued as a possible spoiler, and I completely went off on him. And then I finally had time to actually, check with him which kind of content oh my god, tonight, which kind of comments he made over time, and realized, oh shit, I really fucked up big time, because even if in the moment it kind of looked like there is really no chance. So I'm sorry, Kevin, I fucked it up, I unlocked you, I already apologized to you, but I think it's important that we do it here, in front of everyone, because when I read you to filth, I read you in front of everyone. So at least this. Now that we have that done, we have to catch up a little bit. So last Wednesday, let me tell you a little bit what happened in the past week. Last Wednesday, we had, I think, the live stream with Vilma to talk about all the things that were happening to us, to our Patreon, to the channel, strikes that were received by Jordan T, and also problems that another YouTuber here called Aki was having with this channel, and the general silencing that we are experiencing, or I might say alleged silencing, because unfortunately we cannot prove much, at least with our Patreon. We're still waiting for a response, by the way. So after doing that, it was like Thursday, and I was like, oh great, I have all the time to pack up, do the review. Girl, I can move at the speed of light. So I thought, we have a shit ton of plants in the house. So I thought, yes, of course, in a matter of a day, I can buy all the pipes that we need, connect them to the pumps that I bought months ago, and then create a program in Arduino, solder everything together with a real-time module, and create an automatic system to water my plants at different times and different flows while we are out of the house for 3 weeks. So, of course, I thought, yes, I can totally do it in 3 weeks, in a day. This is absolutely doable. So, in the end, I finished Saturday night, but it looks like it works. We checked it multiple times, but you have no idea how many plants we had, because I'm really a fanatic of plants. I need my green in the house, so it was unfeasible to move the plants with us and park them at my parents-in-law, so this had to be done. Long story short, I finished Saturday night, and then on Sunday morning we drove to our parents-in-law, and even though they have a bad connection, so I wouldn't have been able to stream anyway, I had zero review prepared, like zero, this much. Of course, with overconfidence comes also the possibility of fucking it up. So at some point it looks like I put my soldering iron on the microphone, and this is what's left of the microphone. It still works. I have to say, it still works. You're hearing me through this, but I think it's like, you know, the universe is sending me a message, you know, because we actually had the funds to buy a proper microphone like 2 months ago. But I always said, you know what? This is money from the Patreon. So I have to spend it the best way. I have to find the best deal, you know? I have to really get the best quality for my money. As a result, I didn't buy anything. So I think it's fucking time that we get a new microphone and become a little bit more professional. In all of this, on Monday afternoon, we drove to come back to my parents, which live very far away. So we jumped in the car and we arrived on Tuesday morning, actually. And let me tell you, there is something magic in jumping in the car when the sun is still up, watch it go down, and drive the whole nights for 100, 200, 300, 400, 1,000, 2,000 kilometers and watch the sun rise again. It's an experience. It's really an experience. If you enjoy driving, I highly suggest it, but you have to be prepared. So the day before you have to like try to sleep 12, 15 hours, otherwise you will fall asleep while driving. But we made it here. And after a long sleep until Wednesday morning, I finally woke up and realized that my parents need a new computer, which I need to buy, back up everything, so that I can restore everything in the new computer, including new programs. And then I thought, well, at this point, they also need a new screen. It's not good for their eyes. So I went out and looked for a good screen. Of course, best money for the buck. And then there were plants to transplant. Then there were dish to be cooked because they enjoyed some of my cooking. So they asked. I obliged. And then there was a balance to fix. And I shit you not, next week I have to put down a laminate floor for the guest room. So, you know, I'm keeping myself busy. But I also have to say something. This, for me, is vacation. I love doing these things, and I love doing them without having to respect the deadline. You know, you just wake up and say, oh, what am I doing today? I'm emptying this room, I'm laying down everything. I must say, now I understand why my father told me, please remember to bring with you the circular saw. And I was like, What the fuck does he need a circular saw for? And now I found out. Now I found out. So, there we are. We are here. We are finally here. In the past 3 days, I tried to do my best with episode 7 and episode 8. Unfortunately, the reviews are going to be a little bit shorter. There are not as in-depth as they used to be because I'm currently still very busy. I think this will probably go on until the next week as well. But I'll try my best to be here. So that you get your daily dose of chop. Now, let's go back to the comments for a moment. I saw a couple of tags. Vanessa, you're so welcome. Thank you so much. Time for me to listen live and clean my house. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that. Apparently, my voice suits cleaning. I have no idea how that works, but if it works for you, that's great. Be careful, don't burn your house. No, don't worry. I just misplaced the iron. That's the problem. Sen, go get yourself a nice microphone. Yes, I have to. It's definitely time. Fantasia, thank you so much. The Queen of Discord is here. Thumbs up for Fantasia. Felicia, you always amaze me. What can you do? And I might tell you, when you are in desperate need, you learn to do incredible things. You know, being in need of things is not necessarily a bad thing. It's nothing to really be ashamed of because you really learn to do a ton of shit, and then in the long run, you start saving a shit ton of money on the most stupid things. Oh, damn. I hit the keyboard. Sorry, I am in a little bit of a cramped space. Sen, you're amazing. Thank you. But you know, everyone can do this shit. Just apply yourself. Okay, now that we have had our little bit of a talk, let's open our 1.5 liter bottle of energy drink because they didn't have the cans in here. They have a little, but they didn't have the cans. They just had the big bottle. So we are going to get drunk on an energy drink tonight. And of course, welcome to everyone that just joined the stream for the first time. I know it's strange that this happens to this channel. I know it's strange, but we get about 10 new subscribers every day. So sometimes it happens. New people join the live stream and you're very welcome to join. It's a bunch of relatable people. And if you cannot have enough of it, in the description of the video, there is a link for the Discord. So if you feel like it, you can also join the Discord. We don't just have, Sundays to have a nice talk all together. Sen, there's the energy drinks. It wouldn't be the chop without the energy drinks. Oh, yes. Yes, I need it. With the fact that we go on until 3 in the morning, I couldn't stay awake without it. It would be impossible. Okay. Let's start. Let's begin. So, there we go. Welcome to the shop, and in this episode we're going to take a very brief look to episode 7 because there was no live stream or video review last week. So we're going to get a last chance to shit on Jan because, we're going to shit on Jan quite a lot, courtesy of World of Wonder for those constipated viewers out there. And since we are on topic, it's also time to lick RuPaul's ass because, come on, let's be honest, who doesn't want a nice taste of the goddess? Yummy. And whenever I hear the word yummy, I think about that song from the talent show in episode 1 where Ginger was singing yummy, 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 I'm going to play it in the video. That song takes a whole new meaning in this context. And then we have episode 8 with the Snatch Game of Love, now more edited than ever. More ass licking for RuPaul because, girl, come on, let's be honest. That crown is so close I can almost taste it. Plus Pandora and Trinity thrown under the bus, Eureka's edit rising up, and Pandy being unceremoniously sent home. There is not a single moment to shine, and there is not a win under her belt. So I'm pretty sure Kandy Ho would be real proud of Pandora Box, like real proud. Of course, at the end of the video, we are going to have our final speculations for this season of All Stars. Now, we are actually on vacation and enjoying some times with our families, and since we come from different states, the past weeks there was a lot of traveling involved. So as a result, we skipped the review for episode 7 last week, and the coming up reviews will be a little bit shorter than usual, and I apologize for that. But I'm here to make you a promise. If this channel ever gets to a point in which it actually starts paying some bills, I'll step it up and make sure to deliver every episode on time. And if you want to help with that, of course, we have a Patreon. For the moment, we still have a Patreon. And if you like what we do, of course, please take a moment to leave a comment. Give the video a like, and even share it if you can, because the YouTube algorithm rarely suggests any of our content to new viewers, and more engagement is what is needed to convince our binary overlord that this is high quality content that deserves to be suggested to new viewers. So thank you so much, and now let's dig in. It's episode 7. And the main challenge is to write an uplifting drag anthem called Show Up Queens. So the lyrics have to be entertaining, they have to inspire, they have to teach the children what these queens stand for. And in addition, they also have to sing the lyrics, they have to prepare choreo for the number, and then perform the number on stage. The problem is, by the end of all of this, we're going to find out that the lyrics are like 90% of what counts in the actual judging. I wonder why. That's curious. I really wonder why. Now, the queens divide into groups, and of course we have where is it? Here it is. And of course we have an obligatory shot of the queens pretending, allegedly of course, to write the lyrics. I'm saying pretending because Denali actually spilled some tea last season saying that they all prepared their lyrics in advance. Did it happen for All Stars as well? I tend to think yes, because this is RuPaul's Drag Race in 2021, so for me there is no doubt. But allegedly, let's not forget the magic word, allegedly. So at this point we have Kylie opening up to RuPaul. And the question on everybody's lips is Kylie actually licking RuPaul's ass, or is she being sincere? Now, from my point of view, and I hope my positive bias toward Kylie is not laying up, but to me it looks sincere. For one very, very simple reason. RuPaul's reaction. She's like, what the fuck is happening? This was not in the script. This is embarrassing. I don't know what to say. That was RuPaul's face. So, if you know anything about meeting celebrities, one of the first things that they tell you is, please don't mention if they remember something or if they remember meeting you before, because these people literally meet thousands of people every year. They cannot possibly remember everyone, but they will still look like douchebags if you say, oh, do you remember? And then they don't remember. So the first rule is never mention if they remember anything. So of course Kylie goes in, and she looks really sincere to me, and she's like, one time you were signing books in Atlanta and you have RuPaul stone-faced. And then she continues, and you wrote self-love on this, what was it, a calendar, I think, or a book, I don't remember, but you wrote self-love in that, and I was really grateful. It changed my life. And RuPaul's response, I shit you not, RuPaul's response is, yeah. I mean, what the hell? You can really say that Mama Ru is sure showing that funk and humanity. Almost as if she lacks soul. I wonder if this is going to play a role later on. I'll tell you about that. Let's move on to the chat. I have a couple of comments that I skipped, more than a couple of comments that I skipped, but you see, I became able to multitask. And while I find the comments, I can also pour some more liquid energy. My God, I'm terrible tonight. Tukia, I can't drink energy drinks anymore unless I want a heart attack. Mario, you mean money, not yummy. Ooh, shit. Luis, is Pandora the only queen to compete on 3 different seasons and never win anything? I think yes. I think you're completely right. Nightmare, they did our girl Pandora dirty. This enforces my theory that the girls who speak poorly about production get poor edits if they return. It's really a mixture of different things. We're going to talk about them a little bit more later on. But as you know, it looks like this show kind of picks and chooses the kind of political correctness that they want to have. Like, you can really see a pattern of ageism. If you're like pushing 50s in the show, you never do good. That's a statistical reality. That's not a matter of opinion. Jules, welcome Jules. To me, the song sounded like I'm That Bitch. I didn't like this song. Fulani, why did they have to split into groups when they all did the song together? I have no idea. Probably there has to be some reason behind it, something that never made it to the final cut, to a point in which I didn't even suspect there was a reason behind it. But it might be so that they felt like fighting against each other's. I don't know. Sometimes it baffles my mind. Youth caused it. In one of her videos, Nina Bonina Brown mentioned that she was at that book signing as well and gave RuPaul a poster that she later found in the trash bin. I find that hard to believe, but it sure is a compelling story. Like, really compelling. So, moving on. In all of this, we managed to find a nice shot of our dear Jen and realize that she has no pimple on the nose. So we can confirm that pimple on the nose Jen was coming from the future, and her words taken out of context to portray Jen as a villain since what? Episode 4? Episode 3? I don't remember anymore. I had too much energy drink. So let's move to rehearsal. We move to rehearsal because it's time to shit on Jen. Yay! So while recording her lyrics, we are immediately intercepted by wavy hair Eureka teleporting from nobody knows where in order to shit on Jan. Of course, we have our usual load of tense music playing in the background, plus all of these 3 shots of 3 queens bitch facing all to Jan. And you know, we're going to shit on Jan a lot in this episode because she's going to go home by the end of the episode, so we want to make the most of the time that we have. So Eureka is here to tell us that, oh shit, yes Eureka, you are a sex magnet. Nobody's doubting that. Where's the right one? There it is. Eureka is not sure that whatever Jance is doing, that's not what the assignment was. And so it's great. It's great. And after this, it's time to shit a little bit of Pandora box with some input hoeing from Ginger. Because why not? So you know that by the end of this, Jen is not doing well, Pandy is not doing well, so of course they're going to be in the bottom 2. What is it? 15 minutes in, we already have our bottom 2. Incredibly Jen, who is a singer, who is a dancer, but she will have to be in the bottom. I wonder why. Could it be triggering being in the bottom? Oh, maybe. Was she triggered? No. Oh, that's why she went home. Allegedly, of course. Allegedly. So let's move on to the main challenge because we have to have some terrible editing of the 2 different how are they called? 2 different shots that they did of this performance. Apparently, Jen is able to teleport her arms and move her body in the snap of a finger. Very, very well done, Jen. And there is also another section in which you see Pandora conveniently disappearing from a ton of shots. It's like a ton of them. And you're like, well, but the camera is moving so fast, yet it always manages to never catch Pandora. So already we knew that Jen and Pandora were going to be in the bottom. Now after this shot, we also know that Jen is going to go home. So at this point, you can already understand how invested I was in this episode. So let's have a little bit of energy drink. I'm starting to get triggered. I was in a good mood. I'm starting to get a little bit triggered. So after this, we jump to the cryptiques because of course it's time to shit on Jen. And you know, by this point, by the time that we get to the cryptiques, somehow the lyrics are 90% of the challenge. You know, writing, they had to write them. And then on top of that, they had to sing. Then they had to prepare outfits for the challenge and for the runway. Then they have to prepare a choreo. Then they had to execute the choreo. And in all of this, the lyrics are 90%. Everything else is nothing. I wonder why. So we have one last attempt to trigger Jen, with Carcel saying, "Oh, it was an excellent costume, but the lyrics were a little light." And Michelle, the thing that was missing was inspiration. And finally, the cherry on top, RuPaul herself. You hit every mark, but your performance lacked soul. And I'm like, I don't know. I know that there is an idiom for that. I don't know that. But I'm like, RuPaul is telling someone that she lacks soul. I'm like, oh shit. That cannot be happening. Come on. So, Jen, you are a soulless individual who lacks funk and humanity. And that, my dear kids, is what is called projection. The more you know. That's what it's called, projection. Have fun with it. What else do we have? Oh, we are back in the workroom because it's time to shit on Jen. Yes. Oh my god, we are shitting on Jen so much. Are we done yet? Let me check. No, we're not done yet. We are not done yet. So while Jen is pleading her case and saying, well, you know, I can see myself in the top 4. And I'm like, yes, of course. What's wrong with that? You can see yourself in there. You are defending your case. That's perfect. Too bad that everybody else is bitch facing. It's like, my God, this bitch is delusional. And of course, our eerie music on the background so that everything ties together. And the poor viewer who doesn't know anything about editing is thinking, that bitch is delusional. She sure is. But we know better. We do know better. What else do we have? Ooh, Untucked. Oh my god, that Untucked. That Untucked was bullshit. Oh, damn. Let me go to the comments for a moment. I need to prepare. Lysander, they really focused on Jen's lyrics when she did great on the runway on this challenge, and they complimented her performance and look too. They just didn't have much more to do with her. That's exactly my point. You have this curious way of judging that inevitably puts Jen in the bottom. Somebody that has shown already that is susceptible to being triggered. That's curious, isn't it? And it's also curious that she didn't get triggered and she got sent home. You know, you're a good villain. You need to let them trigger you. Otherwise, you will not reach that top 4, Jen. Tukia, notice that too, that Pandora basically was edited out of this challenge. With that, I could predict one cryptic on Pandora. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have time to review her cryptiques, but it's not as bad as Jen, but, you know, we are there. Lysander, Pandora was moving so fast that not even the camera was able to catch her. She's the Sonic of drag. Groover, Pandora's verse is stuck in my head loud. Pandora's verse wasn't not that bad in my opinion. But you know, it's everything that we talked so far. Why did she get the edit that she got? You know, because this was coming. What's the point in investing your time, your editing, your resources in having somebody appear very, very well on your episodes if then you're going to eliminate them without ever winning anything? It makes no sense. You use that time for somebody else. Tukia, you forgot that Jen is on 110% all the time. Yes, but thankfully Trinity at the end told her, it's okay, keep being 110% all of the time. Because if that is her brand, that is what she has to do to be successful. There is no reason to change it. Youth caused it. We can talk about the judges' comments regarding Eureka's look. Don't they always tell them to step it up for All Stars? I was confused. She got positive comments about that. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have time to go into everybody's critiques. So we are going to skip a little bit on this episode 7, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So I only covered Jen's critique for this episode. Now, moving on, we move to Untucked. And this is going to become a thing in episode 8 as well. Because the queens are so close to the top 4 that they want to be absolutely sure that Mama knows that they love her. So we have Kylie, Raja, Eureka, Ginger, and Jen all licking RuPaul's ass. Like RuPaul's ass so bad. They go in saying, oh, it was sickening to talk to RuPaul. Ru is someone that truly sees you. Someone that you want to talk all day long to. The walkthrough with RuPaul was really sickening. They all look up to her so much to the point where it's intimidating. She always looks so good. It's difficult to be comfortable around, quote, wow, RuPaul, end quote. She is inspirational. She is wise. When she said, you reach more when you don't preach more. Or maybe preach less if you want to be grammatically, you know, make it flow grammatically. And RuPaul is relatable. Her words are responsible for the motivation that got people where they are today. And Ru is that beautiful person that was on the TV, the supermodel of the world. So we have this huge ass licking for RuPaul. And I know, trust me, I know. What's the question on everybody's mind? What does RuPaul's ass actually taste like? Well, I'm glad you asked, because RuPaul's ass is a delicacy served only in the top gourmet restaurants. And RuPaul's ass tastes like being able to pay back your student loans, buying a house instead of renting, doing drag full time, being able to pay in a week to get paid, being able to get paid in a week what people earn in a year, at least for a while. And her ass tastes like money and economical independence. So I'm not faulting any of them for doing what they need to do in order to get the job done. It's called being professional. And you know that Ru seems to be very sensitive about her reception. Remember that Australian queen, what was her name? Courtney Act, wasn't it? That was conveniently forgotten by the franchise for simply saying, and I shit you not, for simply saying, well, when it comes to RuPaul, there is a difference between RuPaul the entertainer and RuPaul the person behind the entertainer. That was it. That was it. And she disappeared, never to be seen again in the franchise. So, it's a good practice to lick RuPaul's ass. Some of them are very good at it, and maybe even genuine when they do it. Others, well, not everyone is Kylie. I just want to say that. Chat, what do you think? Mario, money, yes. Jules, don't want to taste that ass, thank you anyway. Grover, it tastes like fracking oil. You guys are so fucking shitty. I love it. Thank you. Nora, who wouldn't relate to a humble queen like RuPaul? Well, it's not that RuPaul is not humble. I'm sure he had moments in which he was humble. But you know. Eureka said that so she can get a challenge win. Oh, she said it so that she can get a challenge win. Well, she didn't get one. Lysander, RuPaul, on the challenge, you acted like fracking was truly your passion, but on the runway, you lacked soul to sell your outfit. I'm sorry, my dear, but you're in the bottom. Oh, good God. Good God. There is a movie, an older movie, I'm sure. If you're a younger viewer, it's an older movie called The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And in the opening sequence, you have these people seemingly emerging from oil, something like that. It looks like a fucked up trailer for RuPaul's Drag Race. So if you have a chance, watch that intro, thinking about RuPaul, and you'll get your life. Rextract, thank you so much for the super chat. Joke, what do you call it when a queen burns all of her bridges with RuPaul and the RuPaul's Drag Race Enterprise and is never invited back again? A ruicide. Oh my God. Well, it's not what. That's the point. You have to understand. That is the point. If you are a queen, you are in this business. World of Wonder and RuPaul basically have a monopoly. You have to do what you have to do. I will understand it. So don't worry, because around the internet, especially here on YouTube, people like us who can call us this bullshit, we are getting more. There is just more of us. So these things will come out. You queens, your job is to look beautiful, play the game, lick RuPaul's ass, pray for the best. That is what you have to do. What we do is say all the things that you cannot say. So that is the basic deal. So I fault none of them for doing what they do. It's work. It's work. You know, that's how you pay the bills. It's work. And, you know, it's not like they thrown someone under the bus in a way in which she got social media backlash and get problems with their gigs, with their future bookings, and so on and so forth. They're just licking RuPaul's ass. So, I know. It's cringe to watch it. But in a way, it's inoffensive. It's really inoffensive. Jules, that movie isn't old, or maybe we are. Jules, we are old. We are old. Not that old, of course, not that old. But, you know, when you consider that the average Drag Race viewers is like 17, 18. That movie is like, what, 12 years old? Well, that's ages for them. That's ages. Okay, what else do we have after this? The lip sync. Ooh, let's go to the lip sync. So the lip sync assassin is Alexis Mateo. Welcome back. It's great to see you, Alexis. She is really one of my favorite queens from the very, very early season. I loved Alexis in season 3. I don't think last season of All Stars did her justice, but we covered that, thankfully. And she just does great in the lip sync. I loved her reveal, and most important of all, Trinity broke the first and most important commandment. Never remove your wig. Unless there is another wig underneath. This is simply unforgivable. So the moment she lost her wig and didn't even care to put it back on, I knew that Alexis was going to murder her. There was no chance whatsoever. The goddess never forgave that sin. That's as simple as that. Pick up your wig and put it back on like Heidi did. That's how your savior has. But she didn't, so Alexis won. And at this point, we have the gag of the double elimination. And there is something strange going on here, isn't it? Because at some point Ru states, well, in this case, the rules give back the power of elimination to the top all-star of the week. And I'm like, oh yes, that's an interesting rule. Too bad that it's just a crock of shit. Because this rule was never introduced to the audience or the queens. Because in next episode, some editors conveniently forgot to edit out Ginger saying that she had no idea what would happen because of the lipstick draw. And all queens were agreeing. So why did this happen, that they came out of nowhere with this new rule? Because clearly production knew that there could be draws. It can happen, but never told any rules to anyone, because it conveniently gives them the power to do what they want by stating a convenient rule at a later time. For example, imagine this scenario. A queen is scheduled to be in the top 4, but has a huge breakdown and fucks up everything behind measure. So there is no amount of editing that can help. There is no kind of fake critiques that can help. She just needs to be on the bottom. It needs to be something at, Valentina's level of fucked up, when she was wearing a mask and didn't know the words and so on. It needs to be that kind of. So it's something that rarely happens, but you want to be prepared for everything. So this queen that has to be in the top 4 goes in the bottom. She is tied up for elimination by the group with another queen, and the top all-stars decided to Manila her. So in this case, production can come out and say, well, the rule says that the queen with the best track record stays, or the queens will have to vote again. No doubt after being properly handled by the talent handlers, of course, or maybe filming a couple of confessionals with some of the producers. So the golden rule here is, as it always was, it's World of Wonder. They just don't like having most of the power. They want all of the power. So after this, Jen goes home after being unsuccessfully triggered during the critiques. Trinity chose her. And judging by how well she's been playing the game, I guess she knew production would never allow an older queen like Pandora to ever really shine or even reach the top 4. And I don't throw these words around like that easy, but you know that ageism is always kind of something very fashionable on this show, and we had tons of examples in the past seasons. So props to Trinity for stepping it up. It's good that she knows how to play the game, but in a way it's also nice that they finally stopped shitting on Jen. And talking about shitting on Jen, we have one last opportunity to shit on Jen. Yes, because while Jen says her goodbyes, we are intercepted by franken sentences during a mismatched confessional with, you guessed it, our dear pimple on the nose, Jen. So remember the golden rules of confessionals. If you cannot see them talking, then there is a very high chance that sentences were patched together. That's actually, Franken sentence 101. When you need to patch sentences, put something else on the screen, because people will see the difference if you have 2 different shots from confessionals immediately next to each other. So, where are we? So Jen said, the queen voted me because they, and then on camera, think of me as a threat. And I'm like, yes, we know that this confessional is coming from somewhere else. And then it continues off camera. They all see that I have a potential to do, and then on camera, all of the things that, and then off camera again, takes to win this crown. So there is so much messing around that there really is no doubt that, there really is, I'm really not surprised that a lot of people on social media reacted to Jen as if she was completely delusional. I mean, in a way, her edit on the show was done very well, was done very convincingly. But the point is not just as how good you are technically in performing an edit. There is also a social impact of that edit. So, I wish they would use their abilities without resorting to this kind of things. That's the point, because there is no need for that. If you have the talent to back it up, you can make people stay glued on the screen without throwing necessarily anyone under the bus. So Jen was not happy, and she actually published this tweet that was later deleted, so thanks to the RuPaul's Drag Race Drama subreddit for archiving these tweets, in which saying that at least she was allowed to be herself during Untucked, because everything that went on during the show made her shocked, embarrassed, and hurt, and she feels like she was not portrayed at herself. At the end of her run, after all that we have seen on television and on social media, I can confidently say that Jen was definitely thrown under the bus, like in a way that we have not seen in years. So I hope the best for Jen. It's good that she went home, because if she stayed, you knew that it was going to be way, way worse than this. Now, moving on. We have a super chat for Juice. Thank you so much for the support. When in doubt, just blame Jen. I love your work. Thank you so much, Jules. When in doubt, blame Jen. Oh, poor Jen. Ivan Dominguez, this is a systematic attempt to break Jen's psyche. Bob the drag queen. Did Bob really say that? Do you see that when I tell you, yes, sometimes there are those rare times in which Bob says complete bullshit, but it's like 1% of the time, 99% of the time, it will say the things nobody says. This is exactly what I mean. Lysander, so queens, in case of a group vote tie, the queen that stays cannot have her name being Jen. Jules, it's a family thing. Jen and Rose both traveled in time. Oh, yes, they were not alone. Norveg, this rule is exactly the same as they bend the rule whether they judge team as teams or the members as individual. Yes, it's the same trick. You avoid stating a rule at the very, very beginning so that you cannot be held accountable for breaking that rule later on. Because if you didn't state it, then you're not breaking any rule. It's something that also it's pretty common to find in gaslit relationships. Sasha, do you think the pimple on the nose, Jen, is from when the game within a game starts? Not necessarily that she will be back to the competition, but just for the game episode or from after that. There is really no way to know. The only thing that we know is that it's coming from the future. Now, it could be that she was asked to refilm most of her confessionals, or that this is indeed coming from the game within a game. We don't know until that episode will actually start. Lysander, the sad thing is that a lot of the fandom fell for the edit of Jen and they dislike her now. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, this is a risk that you need to account for before you go on Drag Race. You cannot trust them to do anything more than making the most engaging show that they can and getting the most money that they can out of it. They are not there to protect the reputations of these queens. They are there to exploit their talent and make money. Now, while they do this, the queens also get to appear on a huge platform that can help them to build an incredible career. So, I understand the struggle, but before you even audition, you need to prepare yourself to all of this. You need to be mentally prepared for when you will be there, and also for when the show will actually air, so that you have your social media under control and you can contain as much of the damage as you can if damage really does occur. Lysander, in case Jen stayed for the Snatch game, she would have supposedly done Kris Jenner. The judges would have said, "We didn't see much of your personality and one hair of your wig was off." Yeah, you see, you can already start imagining this kind of things. Once you successfully manage to put yourself in that perspective, you start reasoning like them. Things don't really surprise you anymore. You start anticipating those because you put yourself in that state of mind. So let's have a little bit of an energy drink, and then we jump to episode 8. And a vape, a little bit of a vape too. Pavlin SP3D says, RuPaul's Drag Race is an awful show, obviously. Look at Fifi. She quit drag due to death threats and all of this because of the then edit she received in both of her season. I agree in one way, I disagree in the other way. I wouldn't go as far as, let's just digest everything and pretend that nothing happened because we have a drag race channel, so you need to protect our interests. It's fucked up what's happening. But on the other hand, this is also the most influential show of our generation, of my generation at least. I'm emotionally attached to it, and I can see the heights that it can actually reach if producers stop fucking with it. And that's what I want to see. What we used to see back in the day. Before, of course, it was also different times. We didn't have social media like this. But I know that this show can reach those heights again. That's why I never give up with it. It's like an old relationship in which you say, yes, it's been shitty for the last 4 years. But the 7 years before that were great. So, we should speak up about this kind of shit happening. And maybe also, vote with our wallet, in the case in which we can vote with our wallet, and signal to them that, listen, we are here, we support the show, we love the show, but a couple of things need to fucking change. And a couple of things started to change, like the fact that finally trans women and trans men are allowed to be on the show. So that things can change. We just have to push for it. That's the point. We have to push for it. They have shown to be receptive, so let's hope that they will be receptive in this as well, at least as much as they can. For what concerned Viacom CBS, which, is the one actually buying these seasons, I don't know about that. But World of Wonder has shown to be receptive, if they want to be receptive. Now, a little bit of a vape, of course. Nicotine. Oh my god. Oh, I shouldn't sound like that. It sounds like something else. This sounds like something else. I really wanted to give a quick thing for episode 7. Like, in my mind, it was like, let's do it for 15 minutes. It's been 1 hour. Shit, it's been 1 hour. Sasha, being in social media while liking Jen was a torture. Every time I talked about, I got blocked or got death threats because people couldn't accept someone defending Jen with actual proof. Well, when people don't want to listen, you shouldn't waste your time trying talking to them. I mean, if they seek you out, just block them and get done with it. Because you really don't want to waste your time trying to convince people who are not interested in listening to you in the first place. Because while you lose time with those people, then you lose the opportunity to actually spend time with other people who are more curious, more driven to understand things that's going on, and could really make a step forward in their thinking if they have the opportunity to have an exchange with you. So what I'm thinking is, if they don't want to listen, don't waste your time, because you're losing a ton of amazing people out there who just want someone reasonable to talk to, and they cannot find them because they are all too busy responding to these idiots who are all blah blah blah, and then they have earplugs in their ears. You know what I mean? That's it. Missed week. Any news on Widow? Well, the only news that I had was 2 weeks ago, and that's the only news that we are going to have reasonably until March, when the actual trial starts. So that's the only thing that we know. There will be a trial, and I hope that we will find out what happens. It's a really complicated situation. Both points of view are understandable. So I don't want to say too much about it, because I don't even know what to think about it at the moment. Yes, of course, I'm shocked when I see the pictures of the alleged boyfriend. And of course, I'm actually like in the set of mind of, well, if someone is in your home and you don't expect it, I know how it feels. I know how you could react to that, because it actually happened to us. So I don't know. I don't know. The best that I try to do is find information related to the channel. Hope people don't get crazy on it, and then we will see when the proceeding starts. I will cover it not with videos because people are crazy, but I will cover it in the live streams. That is for sure, to give the information. Okay, Lysander, I was in a group chat that I always join to watch the episodes early. I didn't hear that. And a lot of people talk shit about Jen, also talk shit about Pandora, calling her a table that doesn't move. Well, you know, some people's teeth needs to be haired more than, you know, usual people's teeth. So that's why they open their mouth. Okay, so let's move on to episode 8 now. We are back in the workroom, and we find out that the queens had no idea what would happen if there was a lipstick tie. So we have Raja and Eureka confirming that there never was a tie in All-Stars in an All-Star season, and Ginger tells that her and Eureka had no idea what would happen. Maybe even both the queen would go home. So, do you see my point here? That rule was not just not clear for us, it wasn't clear for them as well. So, everything that I said before still stands because of this. So, after being shown RuPaul's sweatpants in Untucked, you know that someone else is going to be fired because they forgot to edit out Ginger confirming that the rule was never explicitly stated before, even to the queens. And that is gaggy. That is really gaggy. So at this point we have Trinity trying to explain why she chose Pandora over Jen, and saying that, well, Pandora put a lot of work in what she was doing and never done really bad in the competition. And I'm like, you gotta do what you gotta do. I understand, Trinity. I see you. I understand. Don't worry. So we're back in the workroom because RuPaul is announcing the Maxi Challenge. It's the Snatch Game of Love, sponsored by Nina West. So after 8 weeks of filming, which is really 2 weeks at most, plus 2 weeks of quarantine before filming, the queens will have to overact a character and try to snatch their bachelor during the long-awaited Snatch Game of Love. Sponsored by Nina West, of course. So, speaking of fetishes, it's also time to lick RuPaul's ass a little bit more. So, we have Ginger. And while Eureka is saying that she'll be playing Divine, she's intercepted by Ginger saying, "Oh, Divine? That's the original drag superstar before RuPaul. There was Divine." And you see what I mean when I say Ginger is professional, because this is really inconspicuous, you know? She is connecting to something that is really happening, and then she slips in something, the RuPaul, the original drag superstar. Props to Ginger. Props to Ginger. Great job. Of course, we have our obligatory shot of RuPaul pretending to recognize a character. And I'm like, it's not like you already knows these characters like months in advance. So, you know, we have just this obligatory shot. I don't know why they do it. I don't think there are people who are still buying it. Is any of you actually buying that RuPaul doesn't know the characters? Or am I stroking over here? Am I, you know, in my mind? Does any of you think that RuPaul really doesn't know what their character is going to be? Because, you know, she is one of the top producers of the show. I think she might even have a voice when it comes to, oh, no, what's your backup character? That one? Okay, then you do that one. That one. Dave, no. Sasha, no. Sen, no. Mistake she knows yet. Dave, no one's buying it. Our mate, I think RuPaul forgot. Tukya, there was another tie between Jen and Scarlett, and there the queens also admitted that they had no idea what would happen. Great find. Great find. I think when the episode comes out, we will pick it up. Thank you so much for the heads up. Lysander, I think they should change the format for Snatch Game on the All-Star season. It just doesn't work. Plus, it's wild to think it's Ginger's third Snatch Game and Raja's first. Yes, it is wild. Took you out, Trixie? Yes, I saw that. I saw that. I think there is still the video on the internet, but I have it. I downloaded that. I downloaded that. Trixie wanted to do Anne Frank, but was forbidden to do it. And I'm like, yes, I completely understand why, they forbade it. Because, girl, these are very, very different times. You cannot do comedy the way you used to do comedy. Or satire. God forbid satire. So, yes, I get where you're coming from. I saw it. Personally, I think it was funny, but you never know. Maybe in the moment it would have come off in a different way. Where are we? I got in sync with the chat. I lost my notes. Oh, yes. And after this, it's time to lick RuPaul's ass a little bit more. With Raja this time, saying, oh, I love the suit. And RuPaul is like, oh, thank you so much. So, something curious that happens in here is that RuPaul failed to mention the designer, which is strange. And then I realized, oh, wait, maybe he just didn't pay for the publicity. So if you don't pay, you don't get mentioned. Because they mentioned him like one time, then never anymore. And after this, it's soon time for a triple, not double, but a triple mashup confessional with Trinity explaining that she is not quick, she's feeling under pressure for this challenge because improv is not really her element. And at this point, you already know that either she's going to win the Snatch Game of Love or she's going to be in the bottom. And immediately after this, we have Trinity subtly saying to a Snatch Game winner and front runner of this season, quote, I have the top track record right now, so if I happen to be in the bottom, I think I'll be fine, wink wink. To which Ginger is not really amused. Ginger is like, she's classier than that, She sends messages like in a more subtle way. So let me tell you, this is not a good addition for Trinity. They could have easily edited this out, yet it was left in. So the whole thing is also playing with shady music in the background, and ultimately the fact that it has on us, the viewers, is that pushes Trinity's edit a little bit down. Also, conveniently, elevating Ginger's by contrast, because, contrast always helps. And now it's time for the Snatch Game of Love. Sponsored by Nina West, of course. So we have a ton of fake audience laugh, because why not? Upbeat music and obligatory Ru's laugh, because we need to help the performances of the top queens, and the crickets, silence, or shady music playing for the bottom queens, with, of course, shots of people confused or bitch-facing, just for good measure. So, it's the usual edit on RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's start with Ginger, Trinity, and Kylie. I think Ginger and Kylie did absolutely great, but at some point they really got to a point in which they both of them wanted to have the last word. It's like one was saying something, then the other was responding, then the other was responding, then the other was responding, and the more this happened, the less it looked like banter and more like people who were really at each other's throat. I was like, in this parallel universe, thinking these people are killing each other. We are laughing, we all think it's comedy, but they're really killing each other. I don't know how to feel about that. I really didn't know how to feel about that. But they generally did really, really good. Of course, not so much for Trinity and her crickets. She does her best. But, the editing does her absolutely no favor. And also being sandwiched in between such strong performances do her no favor. Because let's not forget, and she said it, this is not what she is good at. So she already is in a difficult place. Now she is in an even more now she's in an even more difficult place to be in. My favorite line in all of this was Kylie's, of course, because if you know me, you know my fucked up sense of humor. When Kylie said, "Girl, we don't need the whole airport, just the landing strip." And I was like, yes, Kylie. Yes. Kylie. Somehow I wish she did better in this season, but at the same time I'm happy that she is getting a very good edit and a very good run. Next up we have Pandora Box, Eureka and Raja, and this time Pandy is the one that's sandwiched between two very strong performances. Now for me, Eureka came off just as okay. Pandy was completely lost, of course, and Raja did the best. She genuinely managed to make me laugh without using fucked up jokes or innuendos, which it's quite an accomplishment. In all of this, Eureka was not really happy, and because she said that they cut out a ton of her performances. And this is, again, courtesy of the drama subreddit. And she said, okay, now that it's the next day, I'm not happy with the divine edit I received. There was so many iconic lines I gave of hers that were crucial to who she is, and that didn't make the final cut. I get it, it's story editing. I needed to look like I did well, but not too good, but at least respect my idol. So, in a way, I am very surprised by Eureka's maturity in handling all of this. She's like, listen, there was more to my character that was, necessary to define my character. Unfortunately, it didn't make to the final cut because, editing is editing, and maybe since I was not supposed to win, they just cut out, the best out of it. And she is handling really well. And I'm like, I didn't expect Eureka to show this level of maturity in addressing issues even outside of the show, because in the show you can always say, oh, it's the edit. The edit is pushing her up a little bit more, cutting out the right thing and leaving in the exact things that need to be left in. But then you go outside of the show and it's the same thing. Eureka really did her growing up, not like some other queens. So I'm like, great job, Eureka. I wish more people would prove me wrong like this more often. And I swear, it's not just because she's a sex magnet. Moving on. We love you, Eureka. We love you. If you want to join, you're welcome. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I lost it for a moment. So, we are back in the workroom, and Trinity and Pandora actually discuss the challenge, their performance in the challenge. And Pandora explains her difficulties in responding to Eureka's character. And we are shown Eureka justifying her choice. And while she does that, Pandora is bitch-facing to Eureka's words. Shady noises are playing in the background, and we're hit with a confessional from Trinity telling us that Pandora was not in the game. Auntie, run. You are royally screwed. And to be perfectly clear, I think that they are both right. Because, on one hand, Eureka was just doing the challenge. And on the other hand, Pandora had real trouble in adjusting her character to Eureka's character. So there is really no drama here. However, it looked like some needed to be manufactured for us, the audience. So we need to be drawn into this storyline of Pandora throwing Eureka under the bus. Moving on to the cryptiques. Now, for this episode, cryptiques, on average, I think we got pretty good ones, which was refreshing. I think it's mostly courtesy of everything already falling in the right place by itself. But in general, this is by miles, not the worst cryptiques we've ever had. They are actually kind of good. So to Ginger, they say she was always funny and in on the joke, committed, she had clapbacks, she nailed it, she was present, she got more jokes because she was also listening to the other. Oh, she got more jokes in because she was actually listening and bantering with the others, and that was a smart move. They loved her boots, her gloves, and she would have made Andy Warhol proud. Now, there is a lot of Andy Warhol's reference in this runway. Personally, I didn't like the runway. It could be because I have a fucked up sense of fashion, but it's Ginger Minj, so it could also be that that was not really a good runway. So you are welcome to, join in on that and tell me what you think. I'm just, standing on the line saying, well, I don't know, didn't like it, but I don't know. For Trinity, her outfit was stunning, and it was. They loved that she incorporated a message with the outfit. Unfortunately, she was... Oh shit, I cannot talk. Unfortunately, she was sandwiched in between two people with great... that are great natural banterers, so she tried so hard to keep up, but she was just not in her moment. Her jokes didn't land, and she should have chosen a character that she could really make over the top. And I think this is really fair in a way. I mean, they're not saying anything out of line. This is a fair critique to Trinity. To Kylie, they say she is glamorous. She kept it on brand. It's beautiful. She looked good. She nailed the dolly, which she did. She was quick and funny, which she was. Somebody said, I laughed my ass off. I did as well. And she pushed herself further than ever before. And Ru was worried, but Kylie managed to surprise her and redeemed herself from her first Snatch game. So, it's a huge lick for Kylie, which I completely understand. I agree with all of that. I told you that, strangely, I agree with most of the critiques this episode. Then we have Eureka. The outfit was fantastic. I don't know about that. I can tell you that my partner was like, she looks like the love child of a Smurf and an Oompa Loompa. And once he said that, I could not unsee it. So, unfortunately, I don't know how to judge a runway. And then they continue, she looked good. Sorry. Her outfit was fantastic. She should have given a little bit more humor. They loved the dirty joke. The makeup was on point. She looked amazing. Hair and makeup was all on point. Quintessential divine. But not all the jokes landed, even though most did. And that it's difficult to say, because we saw an edited version. What I saw, for me, is that all of the jokes that were edited in this episode actually landed. Now, it could always be because, fucked up sense of humor, but to me, all of her jokes landed. So I'm like, what exactly do you mean when you say not all of the jokes landed? Give me an example so that we can understand. So I don't know about that. Then to Pandora, she has a fun look. She had a fun look. She has a gorgeous look on the runway. She chose a character that she does the same thing over and over, and unfortunately that led her to do the same thing over and over and be stuck there, which it's quite honest. Unfortunately, her character wasn't funny. She delivered some good lines, and then RuPaul asks her, "Did you have fun, Pandora?" And Pandora says, "Well, I got caught up in how my character would respond to Eureka's character." And we have a nice shot of Eureka confused. To make Pandy look even more shady, Pandora is throwing Eureka under the bus. Why do we have this fucking storyline played over and over and over again for basically the whole episode until finally we go back in the workroom? Because by the time we got there, a lot of people are already convinced that Pandora is being shady. How nice is that? Moving on to Raja. Raja, they liked her outfit. She needed more pop heart, but her walk was killing it. She had funny moments. She could have gone way further. She was funny without really making jokes. She's laid the challenge. And I'm like, you don't need to have jokes to be funny, you know? You don't need what we consider a standard joke with a setup and a punchline. That's one way of making a joke, but that's not the only way that exists to be funny. Personally, I think that Raja was hilarious. She chose a perfect character. She played up the same joke in a new way over and over and over again. And for me, it worked every time. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But clearly, it was not Raja's turn to shine. So in a way, we need to push her down a little bit. Not so down that she will be in the bottom. Don't forget that. She is, after all, going to end up in the top 4, so you don't want to push her in the bottom. Instead, in the bottom, we're going to have Auntie Pandy and Trinity. Of course, after Ginger wins the challenge. So, let's go back to the workroom, because we need to hear Trinity explain that she didn't do good because she's not that quick. It's not that she has a lack of commitment, it's just that improv is just very difficult for her. But we are intersected by a confessional of Kylie framed, emphasis on the word framed, as if Trinity just did a terrible job. She felt hard, and even others knew more references of Whitney that Trinity did. So, you see what I mean when they shit on Trinity during this episode over and over and over again. She starts in the episode at the very beginning saying, this is not my thing, I'm going to try my best, but it's not my thing. Yet time and time again, even though she said it, we have this narrative carried on that Trinity was lazy. You know, it's not that this is not her element. No, Trinity was lazy. So after this, we jump on the sofa because we have Eureka trying to understand what the hell is happening with Auntie Pandy. And this is a great moment because it's a normal adult conversation in which two people are explaining their point. Thank you for being both of them so reasonable. So Eureka tries to understand, Pandy explains herself, everything is fine. So, but one thing that I want you to notice is that even though we are seeing all of this, Eureka is also allowed to explain her point of view in a confessional. Because you, the audience, need to understand that it's not like Eureka was throwing Pandy under the bus during the Snatch Game. No. She was doing her thing. Pandy had her problem in dealing with the environment that was set in. So, and we have this, this very direct confessional with Eureka saying, I don't mind being apologized if I fucked it up, but, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just doing the challenge. So, make no mistake, if she wasn't in the producer's favor, and I'm talking about Eureka, you wouldn't have seen any of that, as she could have been easily portrayed as stealing the scene to throw Pandora under the bus. So, I'm asking you, does this situation remind you of someone, by the way? Someone, who just did her challenge, but was thrown under the bus by production nevertheless. And I'm really asking you, chat. Let's see how good your memory is. I'm testing you. Let me have some liquid energy meanwhile. Good God. Johnny Boy Toy, Jan, Andrea Mizas, Vixen. No. It's, it's closer in time, much closer in time. Someone that was just doing the challenge, yet she was portrayed as throwing other people under the bus. Just for doing the challenge. And she was not allowed to explain herself in confessionals or being portrayed, as she was. And Jules, there you go, Utica. Yes, Utica Queen. Utica Queen. Think about it. It's the same exact situation. Both these queens did the challenge. Then Utica fucked it up, while Eureka actually did a good job, but both were doing their challenge. One was portrayed as someone disrespecting a ton of different people. The other was portrayed as someone who was just doing the job that she came there to do. And this difference is only coming off from the edit. There you go. There you go. So after this, it's time to have a little bit of a talk with Ginger. So we have Trinity talking to Ginger. We have a confessional of Ginger. Yes, of Ginger. My God, I'm going to need a pause real soon. let me restart. So, oh no, wait a moment. Before we go into this, before I miss the comment, I had a ton of comments that I didn't read. I'm going to miss some. I'm sorry. I'll do my best. Jules, every runway they do since she left, I keep thinking of how good Scarlett would have done. Her looks killed Mama. I think she did publish her look. I saw somebody post them. Oh yes. There is a section on the Discord with all the runway looks, and there is someone in there who always posts them from the different social media. Yes, I saw it. She was not bad at all. Lysander, I'm pretty sure I've seen Eureka in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Jules, even if Eureka didn't look amazing on the runway, we cannot deny her sexual magnetism. We cannot. We can absolutely not. Jason Coaster, good morning to everyone from Australia, 8 a.m. Good morning. It's like midnight and a half in here. It's nice to know that we're not the only ones doing this at a fucked up time. Listen, it says that it said that the queens had it said that the queens are scared to make any choices. They could have eliminated the best competition, Trinity, but so many fans were prepared to attack Ginger in case she chose. Oh, I'm going to talk about that. Tukia, because Jen was eliminated, they needed another queen to shit on. Girl, you know that you need to pass. You need to pass. You know, power movements are important. Mario, do we shit on Jen again? Unfortunately not. Not yet. Maybe again really soon. Luis Felipe, Ginger and Trinity K. Bonet are the queens who are always playing the game really well. I'm hoping one of them wins. I have no doubt that Ginger will win. That's my first speculation since the last 2 episodes. That's where but we're going to do a little bit of final speculations later on. So, we are back on the sofas. Is it the sofas? No. So, we are back to have a talk with Ginger. And we are hit with a confessional of Trinity that makes her coming off as braggy. Because she explains for the 11th time that she's not that quick no, sorry. That's not what I meant. That's not what... Where is it? What the fuck? I cannot read my notes. Oh yes, I forgot to put a note. So we have this confessional from Trinity saying, well, I won 2 challenges. I am the front runner, and Jen was in the bottom twice. So make your math. And that comes off as bragging. And after that, she explains for the 11th time that she's just not that quick with improv. How many times it happened already in this episode? She has to explain it again. And Ginger responds that she is disappointed because she wanted to see a little bit more of a fight from her. And of course, we are also intercepted by a confessional from Ginger, misconstruing Trinity's difficulties as a lack of effort. Now, for the 100th time since the beginning of this, Trinity has been constantly saying it's not a lack of effort, it's not my element. I am trying my best. So, I'm like, do you see how Ginger plays the game well? That's how well she is playing it. I'm not faulting Ginger. Let's be honest in here. I'm not faulting Ginger. It's not like She is doing something that will cause huge social media backlash and all of that. She is just playing the game, and she's playing it really well. And I want to recognize her for playing it really well. It's like, I don't know, at some point it looks like she has a telepathic connection to the producers, like, okay, we're going to portray Trinity like this, and even though she's said this over and over and over again, maybe pushing the message that she's being kind of lazy. There is this thing, it's curious, isn't it? It's like really curious. And of course we have a shot of Ginger pretending to choose Trinity. Not that Ginger is pretending, the edit makes it look like she's kind of choosing Trinity. For shits and giggles, of course, because that's simply never going to happen. Now, tell you what, since I'm going to be taking advantage of something that happens in Untucked to discuss an important topic for me, I would tell you, let's go to a 3-minute pause right now. I go smoke a cigarette, get prepared, and then we finish with Untucked, the lip sync, and the final speculations, okay? It's going to be like 3 minutes. See you in a moment. And we're back. And we're back. Dixie, hello, I didn't see you before. Welcome. Welcome back. Lysander, nothing relevant. Today I had a dream that Blair won a branding challenge with a perfume that made you smarter. She even spoke in French. Miss Relatable did a mess on that challenge. You know, I got a lot of people into using the term Miss Relatable. I'm really proud of that. Every time it gets used. Okay, where are we? Oh yes, it's time to move to Untucked. Now it's time to move to Untucked. Now, something very interesting happens in here because we get to have this glimpse of a moment in which Kylie and Pandora actually explain the difficulties of doing comedy because people are too sensitive these days. So they feel like you cannot really joke about anything. It's difficult because it's not really clear where the boundary is. And, you know, if people decide to overreact, they, of course, overreact big time, especially on Drag Race, where the editing somehow, when they want, makes everything look worse. Think of Utica again. And, you know, they can easily push a joke as a form of disrespect. So, I think this is a topic that we should spend a moment to talk about because there are out there some very rare cases of hate that is masquerading itself as comedy. I will not pretend like we don't have these examples because we have them, but I don't really believe that this is the rule because I think that it's true. People are generally more sensitive these days, especially considering like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Everything was much different. It's like we live in an historical period in which we decided as a society to withdraw to make some kind of jokes in exchange for more awareness toward the struggle that some minorities have to face. And that is acceptable for the moment. I totally agree with that. But I'm not sure it's going to really work in the long term because, you know, comedy is there to actually be politically incorrect. It's there to push boundaries and, you know, maybe even to help turning some words that might be perceived as offensive or situations that might be perceived as hurtful into genuine laugh, you know, by virtue of drastically changing the context in which these things actually happens. So, you know, trigger words become meaningless because of comedy, thanks to comedy. And as long as everyone kind of accepts of taking turns as being the butt of the joke, you know, there always is a butt of the joke. That's just how comedy works. However, somehow I have the feeling that people today just take all of these to the extreme where you really reach a point in which comedians are afraid to actually do comedy. And, you know, in a way, this is not just something that happens with comedy. It's a general thing. It looks like we are in a new generation in which people happily give away their ability to contain their emotion to actual strangers, to actual nobody. Anything can trigger them. Anything can hurt them. And it's like they don't know how to regulate the way they feel anymore. And instead of learning how to manage their emotion on their own, it looks like they are more interested in avoiding some emotions altogether and actually lost the learning experience that comes from those emotions. And at the end of it, they invest a complete stranger with the responsibility of respecting this decision that they made. And this is a very, very difficult situation to address. It's a very difficult topic to manage because we are living in this time period right now. And, you know, it's not like I am in my 60s, but even with my limited experience, I can tell you I feel a huge difference. And this is partially one of the reasons why I never give out like trigger warning, because I think that in a way they are overused. What I try to do is try to find, you know, a little bit of a middle way, try to introduce topic in a gentle and sensitive way. It's not like we ever talk, you know, really extreme topics on this channel, but sometimes we do talk about things that other people might be a little bit more sensitive to it. And what I try to do is to, choosing my word appropriately, try to contextualize everything that I'm talking, maybe explaining my emotions toward it, try to be objective, but in a way that doesn't necessarily feel devoid of empathy. But I've actually never used the word trigger, because I don't think it's really healthy to put this word on basically everything. You watch a ton of channels and say, oh, trigger warning for this, trigger warning for that. It's like you are telling people, oh, avoid this. We don't need to avoid everything. We can find a way to speak, in a human way and address topics that other people would otherwise completely ignore. Because there are some important things that we really do need to talk about, especially when it comes to our queer community. So, I understand that it's difficult for some people to not get emotionally triggered. And, but I would like, in a way, to help them being more in control of themselves in the way I kind of try to address these topics. And these are also times in which we need to be understanding, we need to be open to share a little bit of responsibility. So a little bit is on the viewer in trying to contain their emotion, and a little bit is on, the person on the other side of the screen to not be ruthless when it comes to address certain topics, so that we all can talk about them without, closing them behind the rules of trigger warning and everything else. So, times I understand very much this thing that Kylie and Pandora are saying resonates with me a lot, because time have indeed changed. Comedy is just one of the symptoms that times have really changed. And, change is challenging, but challenges is also what really drives growth like nothing else in life. So for you that you are on the other side of the screen, I will like you to join me in this challenge and try to get the best out of it and learn the most out of it without, necessarily feel like we need to fear speaking about some things or speaking about some topics. Because certainly I don't give a shit of what YouTube is going to say when you don't have to talk about some things. We're going to talk about them anyway. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to say. Something that it was important for me to take this opportunity to discuss about this. Now, another thing that happens during Untucked is that we have one last nice moment with Pandora interacting with Trinity. So, as you know, Pandy didn't really have a mirror moment due to production pushing more for the narrative of her throwing Eureka under the bus, and she didn't really have a mirror moment, but at least she has time during Untucked. So, even though not giving her a moment was a choice, not giving her a moment in the main episode was a choice, at least we get to have this moment. And when you get an edit like Pandora's edit, you should be happy of whatever comes. What can I say? It is how it is. Could be worse. Could be really worse for Pandora. So, I hope that she got a lot of new fans from it. I hope that her career got a little bit of a bump. I hope that she gets to make those sweet coins, because Pandy, you deserve them. You really deserve them, and we love you. Now, with that said, let's move to the lip sync. And our secret lip sync assassin is the highest priestess, Lady Heidi. She is here to murder Ginger, and to me, she murdered Ginger. I don't agree with the winner of this lip sync. Now, the song is Sugar Walls, and I cannot help but thinking about that audition from X Factor when I think about this song. So I was giggling the whole time. Now, Heidi had a little bit of a reveal malfunction. That is completely okay. She had a wig under it. And but otherwise she killed the performance. Ginger is kind of doing the same thing again that she did in the last lip sync. She is trying to comedically mocking what the other lip syncer is doing. And apparently it works for production. It didn't really work for me. I am expecting a little bit of new things, especially since this is not the 5th time she lip syncs. This is the 2nd time, so I was expecting something new. Something new didn't come, but apparently whatever she did was enough to make her win. And we find out that she didn't Manila Trinity after all. Too bad, because it would have been great TV. But you have to understand one thing. Although Ginger is a professional toward production, I don't think she's ever going to go as far as risking to seriously compromise her reception in order to be professional toward production. And that's why I think she voted Pandora off. That would have been way, way too far. And personally, I think that was the best choice for Ginger. Because you know that if she did indeed throw Pandora out, she would never have had the same reception that Naomi did when she kicked Manila out. Just saying, I'm just saying. So, Pandora goes home, tragically, after 3 seasons and not a single win or a single moment to really shine, at least in this season of All Stars. She unceremoniously got sent home. And she went very gracefully, kind of like a Kyria, and she thanks Ru for the opportunities and then sachets away. So, goodbye to Auntie Pandy. We wish you the best. You have been in our hearts for more than a decade, and I really hope you get the most out of it. It went the way it went. It was a gamble. We all knew that this was a gamble, but you know, we really wish you the best. Now, of course, I want to thank Productions for spoiling the next lip sync assassin in the preview. I need to stop watching the previews because this is the 2nd time that shits like this actually happen. Remember when they spoiled that Trinity won episode 3 in the preview? So I'm giving you a suggestion. If you don't want spoilers, don't watch the previews. Because at this point, it's just unprofessional that they do things like this. It's just unprofessionals. Now, if you're interested in that, I can mention it later on because there is a funny story behind it, but I will give you a definite 30 seconds warning. So you are welcome to mute the stream when we do this. Now, let's move on to our final speculations for this season. We don't have a confessional chart, we didn't have time to make it, but at this point it would have given us much information after all, because we all know already everything that we need to know about this. In the top 4, we definitely have Ginger, Kylie and Raja, plus a 4th queen. This 4th queen, at this point, it's either going to be Trinity or Eureka. Now, while Trinity's edit is going down, somehow Eureka's edit keeps going up. Trinity performed better in the competition, according to the judges, but she received this ambivalent edit despite her best efforts to actually play the game right. On the other hand, Eureka performed good in the competition, but not as good as Trinity, according to the judges, of course. But her edit is undoubtedly favorable, with no real shady moments for her. Her edit is just a slow growth over time, a steady slow growth over time. So both of these queens look like they only have half the package. One did very well in the competition with not as much of a good edit. The other one didn't do that good in the competition with a very good edit. Now, why is this happening? I think because, in a way, they want to make whoever is the 4th queen in the top 4 not a threat to the actual top 3, which is Ginger, Kylie, and Raja. And you know that one of those 3 is definitely going to be the winner, based on the edit that they have, based on challenges win, and based on all the things that we discussed about in this season of the Chop for All Star 6. So, all 3 of them occupy a representation spot. This is a political thing. This is not a matter of performance. This is a kind of decision that it's made in the public relations department. Is it called public relations department? Well, I don't know about that, but you know what I mean by that. So all of them occupy a representation spot. Ginger is the chosen winner for me. I told you before a ton of times. I'm going to tell you again. She's very professional, and she could be the very first big girl to actually win the competition. Kylie would be a great choice too, as the first trans woman, at least for me. But her performance was definitely weaker than Ginger. And last we have Raja as the Queen of Color not portrayed as a villain. And to me, unfortunately, she has little to no chance. She had an incredible edit. Her performance was really good. And at this point, I think that in a way she kind of deserved it, even more than Kylie, performance-wise. But, you know, Kylie and Ginger really offered the opportunity to virtue signaling something new, something that was never done before in the show. And on the other hand, we already had black skinny winners in the past seasons. So I think they are definitely going to take the opportunity to do something new. If anything, because it's good publicity. Now, who is going to be in the top four? Who is going to be the fourth queen? It could be either one of them. The important thing is that no matter if it's Trinity or Eureka, none of them is a threat to the actual top three. This is the point that I wanted to make across. Now, soon the game within a game will start. I don't think any queen will actually come back, because it never happened that queens would skip being in some episodes and then magically appear in the top four. But if someone indeed does, it will take the fourth position currently occupied by either Trinity or Eureka. So we'll have to see about that. We'll have to tune in and find out what actually happens. Now, let's move on to our Kiki time with our chat, your comments, and whatever you would like to talk about. Thank you so much for watching so far. If you're going to stay, you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us for this double review. That was not, you know, as good as it usually is. I know. I know, we weren't as thorough as we wanted to be. But, you know, my partner is like, I'm going on vacation, I don't give a fuck about the channel. So I'm like, okay, I'll do my best. I will do my best. Tukia, I know Nina jokingly saying Gottmik got curves. We all know why. And after that, everybody ridiculed her on social media platform, but Trixie saying the Teasler is fine. Well, it looks like the more popular you are, the more you are allowed to, you know, break some barriers in a way. Because saying the Teasler is actually breaking a barrier. I understand that times are different. There used to be a time in which we would make joke using the Teasler, but the moment you realize that it has an effect on people, that people actually come out and say, yeah, listen, we are part of the same community. Please don't use that word. It's hurtful. We are still trying to reappropriate that word. We are in that phase in which we need your support not to do this kind of shit. And I am open to give it. I'm very open to give it. I hope that there will be a time in which they will reappropriate this word, like we reappropriated fag, and we can say fag, and other people can say fag to me without the need to be a fag. And we all know that fag means being a gay man feeling his hopes on the runway. And that's how we perceive it, and that's how we strip that word of the power that it had. So this is the moment in which they are appropriating this word. So if Trixie can get away with it, what can I say? Good for Trixie. I'm not following that as an example. What else do we have in the comments? Lysander, if I was Ginger, I would have said to Trinity, do you feel like a bottom? If she said no, I'd say, then change that. Oh my god. I would have said the same thing Trinity told her in episode 3, I'm petty. Oh yes. Yes, I get it. But then again, in that specific moment, and I said it in the review, it's difficult to understand what she really meant, because part of me was like, change your attitude, because it doesn't matter if they put you in the bottom. If you don't feel like a bottom, if you feel that like you did good, then it doesn't matter what the judges say. I still think that's a very real possibility, but it was just framed as if Trinity was being shady. Mario, still waiting for the Little Bit of Money song. That was in the intro. That was in the intro, and we have a ton of I have a ton of these things, and I never have time to do anything. I am so sorry. My mistake in here is to tease things, not really to tease things, but to talk about future project or things that I have done, I have halfway done, because it comes off as if I'm teasing, and people are like, okay, when is this coming out? When is this coming out? And the reality is that I never have time to do anything. So I'm sorry if some of you felt like I was teasing. I was not. John Young, thanks for the double feature, sending love. Thank you, John, for joining. Our mate, great review. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're being too nice. It was not one of my best reviews, but thank you for the compliments. Sasha, do you think there is a big chance of the game within a game? For the 4th spot in the top 4. Sorry, I also misread your question. So do I think if there is going to be a Queen that will join the top 4 coming from the game within a game? I think there is no chance of that whatsoever. If we look back at all the past seasons, no Queen that has ever missed being in some episodes of the current season ever managed to reach in the top 4. It never happened. I think we had a very first time with Trixie back in season 7 that she didn't go home in the episode in which she was brought back, because that was the normal on RuPaul's Drag Race. Every queen that has ever come back would go home immediately in the episode when they came back. So there was this very first mile with Trixie, but she didn't reach the top 4, and no other queens that has ever returned missing episodes ever reached the top 4. So I think there is 0 chance that something like this would happen. Like 0 chance. I'm willing to lose my ball on that. It could always be that, there is a 0.1% that it will happen, and it happens. And if it does, in the future, we will take that into account. But for the moment, I think there is really, really no chance. Andrea Misas. In Spain, we say F word as a way of reappropriation. That's great. That's exactly the things that we should start doing. You don't need... Well, except some, I cannot talk for everyone, so I talk for myself. When it comes to the word fag, let's definitely reappropriate that word, strip it of its meaning, strip it of the possibility to hurt anyone. Let's switch it around and make it feel like a compliment. And the only way in which it can actually happen is as if we use that word and recontextualize it over and over and over again. Let's fucking do that and step into a different world from the ones of today. A world in which people should be ashamed for shit like this. So, of course, it's like not people that we are getting this message that people should be ashamed for things like this. This is what I meant. Lysander, at this point, I want Serena to come back, win a challenge, and win the season. I just want to watch the world burn. You are at the point as we were in season 13 when I was like, yes, Kandy Muse for the win. Team Kandy, you eventually reach a point in which you're like, what, if we have to fuck it, let's fuck it big time. Literally, let's go all the way. Emmeline, thanks for the vid. I hope you're all enjoying your vacation. I agree with the game within a game not mattering at this point. Honestly, unless it's hard Simone, who cares? Well, I'm still curious to see what they're going to pull out, but at this point, the possibility of being a survivor kind of thing starts to look less and less possible, which is a huge lost opportunity for me. We'll still have to see. I would still love this season to somehow go on for like 4 or 5 more episodes, because that's going to be the game within game. I think it would be gaggy. I think it would be fantastic. I think on a streaming platform like Paramount Plus, it would be a great way of exploring new territories. But at this point, I don't think it's going to happen, because they're not advertising anything. They keep going and going and going, and I'm like, why don't you do something like sooner? Because if you're keeping it for last, maybe it's something that it ends up being something stupid. I'm expecting a game within a game. I'm not expecting queens playing rock, paper, scissors and decide who will come back based on that. You know what I mean? Tukia, don't think that Raja is going to win. The narrator has never won. Is Raja the narrator? Because at some point, especially in the past 2 episodes, it looks like Trinity is taking up a lot of the narrating in these episodes. Although there has been a shift in the editing for Drag Race. This is something that I saw since season 13, actually. That we don't have a conventional narrator the way that we used to have, like Jen in season 12. It was very, very clear that she was the narrator for the season. Also, in the confessional chart, it was like really clear. She had double, in the cumulative chart for the whole season, she had double the narrating confessionals of everybody else. It was like really, really clear. And we don't really have this thing anymore. This is something that is changing. And it's a good thing that it's changing. I mean, it's more difficult for us, of course, because we know that there is the role of the narrator. The narrator never wins and never even reaches the top 4 or top 3 back in the day. So it makes it more difficult for us to understand, but it makes the show better. And that's the important thing, that it makes the show better. Oh, chat, don't skip, please. There we go. Mario, if Serena comes back and wins, she can refund Akiria for that messed up wig. Oh, yes, I read something like that. Lysander, to be honest, I was also rooting for Kandy in the final lip sync since it was a messy season and we deserved a messy winner. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what else do we have? Let me scroll. Spoilers ahead. Jara what? Jara comes back with a hair shaped like knives, cuts her competitors, and then when she's crowned, she says, "Fuck you all." Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dragos, welcome. Welcome. Yes, a little bit late. We actually finished the reviews, but we're still here for a couple hours to, chit-chat. Emmeline, maybe that's why I'm just over it. I have to expect rock, paper, scissors, so if it happens, I'm not disappointment. After 2020-21, it's just what it is. Well, in a way, I kind of understand it, because everything that it's been going on in the world, so you have to do the best you can with whatever you have. So I'm willing to be patient with it. I see that some positive changes are actually happening, but that's not nearly enough, because one thing that really needs to go is thoroughly throwing people under the bus, make them come off literally as shitty people, and then leave them in the cold with social media, without explaining anything that's happening, without having someone or anyone understand that's just the editing, like it happened with Utica and with Jen. That is simply unforgivable for me, and I'm going to push on that over and over and over again for as long as it happens, hoping that it will stop happening, because you can make an entertaining show without throwing anyone under the bus like that. And guess what's going to happen? When you stop doing that, queens will also feel more at ease. We will have, a little bit more of those stupid catty fights in Untucked that everybody loved. We can have more of that because queens are more relaxed. Everybody understands that, what's going on is just queens making a show, and we all get something from it. So I hope we eventually reach that point. Mariano, Jara's titties, Kira's wig, and Trinity's used car for the top 3. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Mario, please censor those words, because, the algorithm is always working in the background. So we don't want him to think that we talk about those things. Or maybe, God forbid, think that we encourage them. The algorithm is stupid. They don't understand those kind of things. So, Armade, I'm seeing Rosé's show in Budapest next week. Oh my god, I envy you. I mean, not because you see Rosé, because, you know, I'm not a big fan of Rosé. But I never saw a Queen from Drag Race live. Ever. I hope it will happen soon. Because, you know, the more we go on like this, the more queens we actually have that we seen on the show. So the higher is the probability that some of them, maybe one of them, will eventually come in our city. That's a positive. I'm hoping. You know, let a hoe hope. At least let me hope. Lysander, okay, call me crazy, but if the game within a game is that they're just playing with the minds of the eliminated queens and no one gets to come back, since RuPaul has to frack for money. No, somebody is definitely coming back. Somebody is definitely coming back, probably for one episode, you know, like they did with Carmen Guerrera. Okay, you are back in the competition, now go home. Nora, I have never seen anyone from Drag Race either, but we'll be seeing a few in October if everything goes well. Well, good for you. Great for you. Great for you. And also I have a bit of advice. If you want to support them, don't buy merchandise. Because although when you meet them, you know, in real life that they have their merchandise there, or they already spent the money on the merchandise, so it's a good way to support them. But if you want them to support better, give them a tip, because they can avoid paying taxes on those, because nobody knows how much they really make. So give them a tip. And then, if you have more money, also buy a piece of merch, but first give them a tip. And if you do it, you didn't hear it from me. That's it. David, Sasha Velour will have a tour around Poland, and I am why the fuck she wants to have more than one gig in this homophobic country. Maybe to bring awareness. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I hope, you know, she will have a pleasurable experience, but that's exactly what we should do. I completely agree with that. I commend her on that. Fantasia, I am back-ish. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, by the way, I'll have to, next week when I have time, let me have a little bit of liquid energy. Next week when I come back, I will start bumping up, especially our older viewers from last year, to moderation, so that Fantasia and Amateur don't have to take everything on their shoulder. We are not at the point in which I think we strictly need moderation, because everybody is really nice in the comments. It's really, really rare that, you know, we actually have somebody coming and, you know, act as a complete assholes. But since we are actually growing, or slowly but still growing, it's good to always have, you know, one or two moderators in there without having anyone feel like, oh, I need to be there because I will be the only moderator. So I'll start bumping up a little bit of people next time. It's not an obligation. I will state it again. But if you happen to be there and want to help, you have the power to do so. Lysander, I wonder, since Jen got this treatment on All-Star 6, is the road clear for Denali to come back? Because they tried to trigger her in Season 13 and failed, so they will give her a new story? That's up to debate, because it could go either way. It could go that they completely celebrate her and elevate her like she deserves to. It could also be that they managed to finally trigger her. It could go both ways. It's going mostly to depend on the kind of cast that they have and the kind of storylines that they decide to play out for this specific cast. So we will have to see about that. For the moment, it's like we are in the quantum realm. There is a superposition of possibilities. So yes, it could be one way or the other way. We'll have to see. Luis Felipe, what is going on with the editing during the lip sync on this season? The queens are teleporting a lot. Are the producers trying to hide something? It's annoying. This edit that we have in the lip syncs. You know, somebody left a comment some times ago saying you should watch the lip syncs from the RuPaul's Drag Race channel on YouTube because it looks like it's a different version. And so, you know, I went there thinking that's great. That's exactly what I want to see. You know, more different cuts of the lip sync. It's fantastic. And then I went there and compare it like time-stamped. And it's exactly the same thing. So it looks like we are stuck with this first-person shot in which most of the time we don't even see the whole body. It's 90% of the time, so we don't even understand what's really happening on screen. It's annoying to watch. I am annoyed. And you know that lip syncs are one of the most iconic moments of this show. It's so iconic that other people created shows. I think there was this show called Lip Sync Battle that RuPaul says they basically copied what they do on Drag Race. Because lip syncs are entertaining. But they are entertaining as long as I get to see what the fuck is going on. If you cannot continuously show me this one shot of half a person and then a shot of half the other person, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? This looks like a modern action movie where you don't understand anything that's happening. It's like change a shot every half a second. You don't understand anything. You know? It's annoying. It's really annoying. Alexander, Jen comes back. The challenge is the Madonna Remix Extravaganza Bonanza Rusical. Jen wins. Lip Sync Assassin is Gigi Good. Gigi wins. And she reveals the group chose Jen. Because why not? Oh, good God. Good God. Emmeline, the lip sync edits have turned into a one-woman show with a featured dancer. It's so weird. I just want one wide shot. I don't need close-ups in a dance competition. It's weird. It is weird. It is weird. Andres, I hate the Queen's confessionals during the lip syncs. Like, we don't need anyone to tell us who is doing well. They should learn from Drag Race Spain. I know exactly what you mean, but let's start with the worst problem first. We need to see both queens lip sync at the same time with a wide shot. Once we have established that again, we can start talking about confessionals, which, by the way, didn't really used to be very intrusive. We would usually have one or two of them, usually some gaggy comments, some funny comments, and that was basically it. But my main problem is really those close shots, because I don't understand what's happening. And this is really one of the most iconic moments in this show. So, you know, why deprive the audience of that? Especially when you have a lip sync format like the one in All Stars, where you can still do whatever you want. You know? Because this is the point. It's a problem of power. What would be the only reason to fuck up the lip sync editing like this? Because you need to rig it. That's the only logical reason. And my question is, but why do you need to rig it in the first place? Why do you need to do it? Why don't you just let things happen? Then if someone is better, someone is better. I understand the struggle of risking fucking up the last leg of your show because you throw away the best queens and you're left with, you know, whatever you're left with. I understand that you need to prevent that, but you cannot overdo it like this. You know, you need to find a better way. You need to put more effort, because after all, this still is a $1 billion franchise. Figure out in your mind, it's 9 zeros. Okay, now World of Wonder is not getting all of those 9 zeros because, you know, everyone gets their cut. Viacom gets their cut. The Queens get their cut. RuPaul get their cut. But, you know, they're getting a fair chunk of that money every year. So how come you cannot hire more people and figure this shit out? Because this has become unbearable. This has really become unbearable. They are taking a gem of a show and slowly destroying it piece by piece by piece. You know, and you know, I try to make it funny, I try to laugh about it, but part of me is really desperate because this is happening. I am emotionally attached to this, and I'm not willing to let go. That's as simple as that. I'm not willing to let go. Not yet. Not yet. Nightmare, it's so weird, the editing in the lip sync. I hope they fix it. I really hope it. Dixie, Drag Race is all about making RuPaul laugh. Lip sync and runway will not get you the crown. It's all about, I cannot. Well, can I say it? It's like 1 a.m. Can I say it's about rimming RuPaul the right way? Daven, the rigging messed it up for us, the viewers, and the fans. It's disrespectful. Also for the queens. To us, it looks like they are just there and they do their thing, And I have no doubt that a lot of queens, just learn the words and then they got on stage and do their things. But there is a huge chunk of them who seriously prepare for doing a lip sync for your life. Take Laganja, for example. She released a documentary showing everything that she did, from dressing, wigs, and then rehearsing the song. What do you think happens late at night when they are in that room, only with a television and Paramount Plus playing on it? They train for the lip sync. They train their moves. So, it's really disrespectful to everyone. Emmeline, it's starting to feel like they jumped the shark to me. All of the different shows make it easier to see what's going on and what isn't, and who is trying and who's trying and who isn't. Yeah, it really, I think, I cannot say that they're doing it. I always have to make this premise. But it really looks like they start and say, okay, this is our top 4, this is our elimination order, and we have the power to make everything fall into place. Well, guess the fuck what? Yes, you can make everything fall into place, but it looks like shit. It looks like shit. You are destroying this. I don't know who is making these executive decisions, but he needs to be fired. It needs to be fired because, today, Drag Race is like on this growing curve. It exploded. It's gaining a lot of following. It has become a cultural staple in a way. But this will not last forever. If you want to ensure the longevity of the brand, you also have not to lose your core audience, the people that keep staying with you after literally decades, still attached to the show, still supporting the show, still spreading the words of the show. Even us, even if we do critiques of the edit, we are still supporting the show just because we are talking about it. And people are listening to it, they are engaging with it. They get curious about it. We are, you don't have to lose your core audience. Once you lose that, you are left with people who follow trends. And guess what people who follow trends do? They leave you behind when the next trend comes along. So, Mario, RuPaul's Rig Race Season 1 promo coming soon. Alexander, Queen does a dress reveal. She then teleports to the back of the stage and doesn't have a wig anymore. Then Queen teleports back to the front of the stage with a wig and doing a split. Yes, you summed it up like really well. Really well. David, yesterday Drag Race All started and the first queen who came to the workroom told in a confessional that she is really self-confident. But she knows that it's Drag Race, so she can be fucked up. That's incredible. That it passed the editing. Well, I do believe that when we have all these spin-offs of the series, the state who is actually paying for it, they have the last word on editing, the last word on everything. And World of Wonder is probably mostly there only to support organizing everything. So I don't think they get to have executive decisions when it comes to these things. Other things that could potentially damage the brand, yes. But things like what goes in the edit, in the final edit, when it comes to opinions, I don't think so. I don't think so. Tukia, oh shit, where's the chat? I have to go to bed now. I visit the doctor tomorrow because of my heart. I wish you a good night and I wish you good luck. So, I hope it goes well, whatever it is you're dealing with. Jason, why do they always show Eureka in her undergarments each week? Don't complain. That's a good thing. There's always a clip of her with her titties out. Don't get me wrong. I do love all of Eureka. It just feels like they're trying to shame her. No. They're not trying to shame her. They are, they are showing her. Dixie, I'm pleased to see everyone is sticking around for the chat. Yeah, it's nice that we get to have this moment, especially because we had nothing last week, so we get to catch up a little bit. Emmeline, it very much feels like a writer or producer issue, where the obsession with telling a linear story has overtaken the reality aspect of reality television. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree. And sorry, Emmeline continues, that's what made the first season so good. They felt more real. Yeah, it's really it's really, for me, a manner of delivering a consistent product. It's much easier if you can, program everything in advance and say, okay, this is the elimination order, this is the storylines that we're going to do, this is how these personalities are going to come out, and then, having this kind of blueprint and try to do your best to have everything fall into place. And from a business perspective, it's like mass production, From a business perspective, it makes sense. The problem is that this is not like a product that you buy in the store. This is not a detergent. This is not a cake. This is not, this is not this kind of product. This is reality television. The allure of it is that it feels like it's real. It feels like it's portraying reality, and you cannot mass produce when you are portraying reality. If you want to do it, well, then you need to put in 5 times the effort to make it still feel real. And that's why we're feeling this lack of realism in the show later on. I do also think that, the agreements that they had with Viacom CBS also played a role into it, because of course they are the network, they pay for the show, so they definitely have some last words on it, and everything that goes on the show needs to have the network's green light. That is true for anything. That it's true for TV shows. That it's true for series. That it's true for films and movies. That it's true for everything. So I don't know how good of a communication or leverage they have with Viacom CBS, but I guess that we cannot underestimate the influence of that, because much of the problems that we are seeing since the move to VH1. Which is like the flag channel for Viacom CBS. Daniel Harris, did you ever finish watching UK Season 2? No, not yet. Jade, I feel like RuPaul being trendy to the mainstream audience is over. In a way, yes and no, because it looks like every year some audience dropouts and a new audience come in, to the point where it's kind of flatlining. That's what I mean when I say it's trendy in a way, because we continuously have a new wave of audience coming forward. I have a lot of people that come and say, I've been starting watching the show since season 13, since All Stars 5, which is pretty new viewers. Luis Felipe, Eureka is a sex magnet of the season. Don't you forget it. We'll never forget it. Don't worry. Not in here. Not on this channel. Vanessa, so Eureka said on Roscoe's that she has to take shit before she can get in drag and tuck. So almost all of the time, oh, where's the comment? I lost it. So almost all of the time, she's rushing her makeup before the runway. Lysandra, could you spill the tea? You said that you had a story to say related to next week preview, and you knew who the lip sync assassin is. Oh yes, I forgot to say that. Okay, listen. This is a spoiler that comes from the preview that was included in episode 8. So for the next 1 minute, if you don't want this spoiler, please mute your live stream. Please do that. So I'm giving everyone the time to actually go there, mute it, and what time is it? Is 1:19 and 15 seconds. So for good measure, I'm going to put the pause screen in here. When you see it, where is it? There we go. I'm going to put this screen. When I remove it, the spoiler is over. So are we on board on that? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, let me also write it in the chat. Okay. So in the shot of the lip sync assassin that was in the preview for episode 9, you see the hands of the lip sync assassin. So I'm like, fuck, those are some manly hands with my partner. And he was like, I recognize those tattoos. It's fucking Cameron Michaels. Those manly hands with those tattoos can only be Cameron Michaels. So Cameron is definitely going to be the lip sync assassin. And I'm so, I'm so annoyed by it because, I hate spoilers, especially when I'm reviewing. So that's it. Now we are done. Let's put on back the screen. Let me write spoilers over so that we can begin. Please, in the chat, don't mention anything of this because we have people in here who don't want that thing. So please do everyone be respectful of everyone. I'm trying to do my best in here. So let's resume with everything else. We had a couple of comments. Where was I? Oh, here. Luis Felipe, during Roscoe's, Scarlett said that she had to stay in the studio after she was eliminated. And this could mean that Serena's still waiting since the first episode of the Game Within a Game. Oh, there is no doubt about that. There is no doubt about that. You cannot risk sending a queen back home for a period of time, and then when she comes back, she has to go through quarantine for 2 weeks again. Those were the rules when All Stars was filmed last summer. 2 weeks to see if you're showing signs, and then you can start filming and go in the production bubble. So of course Serena has been waiting alone in that room for all of this time. Of course. Every one of them. There was no other choice. There was no other possibility. And I think the same is true for the lip sync assassins, at least most of them. If they do switcheroos and other things, prior to the 2 weeks of quarantine, they also had to wait their turn to come and be a lip sync assassin. And, they definitely have to do switcheroos because otherwise, why would the queens why would the lip sync assassin need to come back with basically all of their makeup already done before they enter the studio? Why? Why can't you have them there 1 hour before and they do their makeup there? What's the problem with it? They have a room. So it looks like they really last minute they decide and say, okay, you come to be the lip sync assassin for this episode. And every time they are filming the episode with the lip sync, they just tell all the lip sync assassins, prepare your makeup. Oh shit. Let's try again. Hello? Oh, good. Sorry for the inconvenience. I hope you can hear me now. At some point, my electronic cigarette fell on my microphone and it pushed the button for switching on the microphone, and I didn't realize it. I don't know how long I have been talking with the microphone switched off. I feel like a complete idiot. Oh god. The microphone still works. It's my fault. I had this fucking electronic cigarettes which weighed half a kilo fall into the microphone. But the microphone, it's really keeping up. It's doing its best despite being constantly abused. It's still doing good. Okay. So what happened? When did I go out? Does anybody remember what was the last thing that I was saying? Because I think I also read some comments. Oh my god, how long was I out? Like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And a nightmare, that happens to me all the time at work. Don't worry, I work at the customer service. It's the first time that happens to me, and I didn't really think of it because, since I had this accident with my soldering iron and the microphone, I thought, okay, the microphone definitely gave up. The microphone definitely gave up and it did its best, but at some point I disconnected it and used the one embedded in my laptop, which sounds a little bit like shit, but and then I realized, oh shit, the switch is off. Luis Felipe, you left 2 weeks ago. Lysander, we were talking about the lip sync assassin and then being told to prepare your makeup. Oh, thank you. So basically what I was saying is, why do you need to have the lip sync assassin come with half of their makeup already done? Because you can simply call them 1 hour before and say, okay, you are scheduled to be, you will be the lip sync assassin for this episode. Come 1 hour, 2 hours before, how much time, whatever time you need to actually prepare, do your makeup and prepare yourself. Instead, they always arrive with half of the makeup done, as if they call them last minute, and say, okay, you, queen number 2, you will be the lip sync assassin now for this episode. As if they are waiting for the critiques and everything to go on to decide who will be the lip sync assassin. So as if they tell everyone, all of you, prepare your makeup, do the bulk of the work, and 30, 40, 1 hour before, we will call you and tell you, okay, come and do the lip sync and finish preparing yourself in the studio. That's how it looks to me. I cannot find any other reason. And that's what I was saying. Luis Felipe, that's true. That could mean the lip sync assassin of the week is chosen based on who is in the bottom, which is interesting. It's also the only logical conclusion. I mean, I am sure that the equipment that they have at the studio for makeups, talking about mirrors, talking about, everything that you need from steamers for your dress, or really help from other people to dress up, it's all in the studio. Why would you have queens half prepared when they come to the studio? It makes no sense. It makes no sense unless you accept the fact that they decide the lip sync assassin last minute, so they need to come already half prepared. Otherwise you lose too much time. That's the only thing that's reasonable to me. Vanessa, I don't think Manila had her makeup on though. I can check real quick. 1 second. Where is it? Untucked. So Manila was episode 6, I think. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, let me put down the volume. Yeah, you're right. Manila didn't have... She's probably the only one who didn't have her makeup on. Yeah, nothing. Nothing with Manila. It looks like she had her face primed, but it could have been just some hydrating cream that she already had on, but nothing more than that. Nothing more at all. So I don't know, maybe she was one of the few one who was actually scheduled for this episode. I don't know, but, you know, the fact that everybody else already came with half their makeup on, it's a little bit too much of a coincidence to me. That's the only thing that I wanted to say. Lysander Jara said Jessica wasn't supposed to be the lip sync. Yes, I talked about it at length. At length. And also how Jessica said, well, no, Jara was not saying the truth. And I was like, oh shit. My connection is going away. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. Am I gone? Could be YouTube. It could also be that I really disappeared. You're not gone. No. Okay, thank you so much. Because YouTube is telling me to open a widget, and since I am in a different nation in where I usually am, when I started the stream, YouTube actually thought that somebody hacked my YouTube account. So for like literally 20-30 minutes, thank God I always prepare 1 hour before, for literally 20-30 minutes, every time I would open a new window, they would send me another message on my cell phone. At one time I had to reset my password because they thought I was hacking my own account. So I'm really scared of opening a new window because YouTube might decide to log me out. So thank you for confirming me. I'm sorry that everything is fucked up like this, but you know, at least we're still here. So I was saying with the Jessica thing, Jessica might, you know, want to participate in a future season of All Stars. So it's in her best interest to say, yeah, Jara is just shading production. That is not truth. You know, she has a huge conflict of interest. But everything else, to me, points as if Jara is absolutely correct. So that's what I think. Emmeline. Oh, Mario, good night. Thank you so much, Mario, for joining. Emmeline, I think it's just a case of pushing a forced narrative with her half-done makeup thing. It's obvious at this point what it takes to be on the show. Money, resources, and part. Part? That part? Well, you don't necessarily need money and resources to be cast on the show, but you definitely need money and resources if you want to ensure the best chance to look good on the show, because a lot of people don't take into account the cost of, you know, everything that it actually takes to go on Drag Race. The end of the comment. And part of that is tying that narrative in with all of the extra video online, behind the scenes, etc. Yes, they're branching more into that. And a lot of people are starting to realize that everything that comes out of World of Wonder cannot be completely trusted, because independently of whose queen is hosting which show on World of Wonder, there is still a huge conflict of interest there, especially when it comes to pushing narratives. So sometimes you do get to see queens on the pit stop, for example, making comments that seem to go against the edit. But these moments are really rare and far in between, and you can never ignore the conflict of interest that it's in there. They are paid to do a show for them, and if they are asked to talk about certain topics and avoid others, or talk in specific ways, you know, that is part of the job. And I am not faulting any of these queens for, you know, wanted to be in good relationships with World of Wonder, especially today. Still, from our point of view, the viewers, I simply don't watch anything that comes out of World of Wonder. I prefer to follow other people, that are independent from that. Dixie, you're gone, but you're still here. Am I gone? Am I gone or still here? Nobody understand. Nightmare. Sorry. Sorry. Nightmare, I think they arrived with the makeup half done because of the Rona. Maybe they only have 1 hour or so to get ready. Some girls are quicker than others. And also, if I'm not mistaken, the judges don't spend weeks in the lockdown. They only take a test. So the assassin's treatment could be similar. That also makes, for me, more sense with Tara's story. Well, rules now are different. But last summer, everybody had to be in a production bubble. In the U.S., for the rules that they had in California, they needed to be in a 2 weeks production bubble. So everyone in there is already in the bubble. They did their 2 weeks of quarantine, and that was the rule at the time. Rules now are different. I don't know exactly how different they are, but with everything... Sorry. With everything that it's going on and things getting better, the rules are really different now. But this was what's going on last summer. Oh my god, I don't know what's going on with my voice tonight. Also, Jessica talking about the fact that the editors screwed her in her lip sync against Tatiana in season 2 when they didn't show her knowing the words, yet she said she knew them. When did she do that? Like recently? It's something that, happened recently, or was it back in the day? Nightmare Jaras, good lord, the autocorrect. Oh, okay. Watermelon. What's a fantasy season you'd like to see? I'd love to see an early out season where they bring back girls who left at the beginning of their season. Oh, absolutely yes. A first out season would be great. That's the only thing, because we have seen back so many queens from All Stars, but I would really like to see a first out season, except for the second queen of Puerto Vallarta, Shangela. We saw enough of Shangela already. She came back enough. But apart from that, I would like a first out season. And then maybe themed season, like a whole season made of only comedy queen, or a whole season made all of fashion queen, or a whole season made only with alternative queens, queens who really push boundaries, queens like Crystal Method, or Sasha Bell, who now goes with, her older drag name. I think it's Patty Jenkins. I would like something like that. I would enjoy it. It doesn't need to be necessarily a regular season. It could be like a 4 or 5 episode season. But I think it would be a nice way of expanding the brand. But apparently there are huge rumors of an international All-Stars and of an all-winner season. This is something that's been in the air for like 4 months. Like, I have people saying, oh, maybe there will be this season. What do you think? What do you don't think? I don't know. Because if there is a possibility of spoilers, I try to avoid as much as possible. I like the surprise, if I can have it. So I don't go out of my way to try to find out. But there is the spoiler subreddit, for example. And when I went back there, I think it was after season 12, I was researching the leaks with Gigi Good and everything that was happening with production. They have pretty good spoilers. That is something that I try to avoid like a plague, that subreddit. But if you're interested into that, you can take a look in that and see if there is any information. Be careful, though, especially if you don't want spoilers. Lysander, recently in a podcast she said so. Well, I hope that nobody heard her saying that. It's not too bad, because it's something related to season 2, but, Oh, and continues. And something I'm curious about. What was the first season you've seen? I would say something that was asked before. Or maybe I was muted. But it's season 2. Always love season 2. Fulani, or Where Are They Now type of show. Some queens we haven't seen since their season. Yes, in a documentary kind of way. That is something that I would really enjoy. It could also be, it doesn't necessarily have to be like on television or on Paramount Plus. It can also be, you know, on Wow Plus or Wow on YouTube, whatever it is, like a half an hour documentary. Get some new talent in there, get some new people and give them, you know, a little bit of money and say, okay, go to this Queen's city, stay there for a couple of weeks. This is how much you will be paid. This is how much you will be paid. This is your crew. Film some good 40 minutes documentary documenting everything that's going on. It would be a good thing. I would definitely watch it. I can tell you, I watch nothing from the World of Wonder channel on YouTube, like nothing, but that I would watch. Jason, that would be great, Watermelon, but half of them don't do drag anymore. Yeah, a ton of them stopped doing drag. Most famously, James, formerly known as Tyra Sanchez. But also, I think Alyssa Summers doesn't do drag anymore. And also Rebecca Glasscock. There was also somebody else. I think, who was it? Ivy Winters, who just stopped doing drag, living her best life on the farm. So, you know, a lot of them, but it would be interesting nonetheless. I mean, those queens have been iconic in the past of Drag Race, so. Nightmare, I totally avoid Mara Mango's video speaking about the rumored future season. I think it kind of ruins the magic. Yes, I agree with that. I agree. You know what I do? I follow like 3 people on YouTube when it comes to Drag Race, for different reasons. Mostly because you never know what other people will talk about. Mostly because there is not that much effort behind that kind of content, and I don't enjoy it. And I don't just follow random channels, because you never know the kind of things that we'll see put in there. You know, maybe you think that you're watching like a review of an episode or something that happened, and then in the middle you find spoilers, or you find, you know, trashy things. And I have those people that I follow and that I watch. I don't watch them often, especially in season, because unfortunately when you are a creator, you start to realize that the more you follow other people, the more you kind of lose your inner voice. You tend to align and start thinking, oh, maybe I should do something like that, or maybe I should speak like this, or maybe it's something that just happens. I have no control over that, so I mostly stay away from any kind of Drag Race content when I'm doing reviews. I mostly catch up later on, because to avoid that, because you really start losing it. You start, for example, I hear people trying to avoid saying things like, oh fuck, oh shit, and I'm like, sometimes you just I overuse them. I know that I overuse them, but sometimes you are like, this looks like shit, I cannot help it. You know, sometimes it really goes there. Why should I stop using it? I'm not, you know, it just fits the moment. I don't know. Lysander, the podcast was in full Spanish, so that's why. That's why. Talking about the Jessica situation, that's why. Johnny Boy Toy, I found out about RuPaul's Drag Race at the beginning of season 2 and then watched all of season 1 in a couple of days. And you are lucky. You are lucky, because I didn't. I was looking for it around, what was it, season 4 or season 5, when it was like a period in which I was in real crave, you know? I was completely absorbed by it, and like, I want to watch season 1. I was rewatching, you know, season 2, season 3, season 4 are some of the seasons that I rewatched the most. And I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. And I looked everywhere. I couldn't find it. It was so hard to find it that it was named the Lost Season. I will never forget that. A great season of Drag Race, by the way. If you can go past, you know, the outfit, the kind of amateur camera work, amateur editing, amateur lighting, it was a very human season. Really a breath of fresh air if you watch it today. Emmeline, all right, y'all, I gotta build some shells like the proper lesbian I am. Have a great week and stay safe and healthy. See you all next time. Thank you so much for joining, Emmeline. And if you need help with building shells, you can ask in the Discord. I'll be there. Thanks again and have a good one. Thank you, Emmeline. Thank you so much. Where are we? Mrs. G. Oh my god, hi guys, I am so late. I am busy late trying to not to be broke. I completely understand it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Better late than never. Better late than never. Thank you for coming. My name is unimportant says, it's okay, you can say Ginger's entrance look was shit. Oh, good God. Alexander, the fandom looking at Serena on the promo for All Stars 6. This looks like shit. Please don't crop these things and take them out of context. Nightmare, that's really meta, but you got a point. Don't get too much into it or you stop enjoying it. Yes. Oh my god, can you believe that I had a liter of energy drink? I didn't even realize it. I'm not going to fall asleep until tomorrow morning at 8. I literally drank a liter. How much is a liter with the cans? The cans are like 25. A liter is like 1,000. No, 250. So it's like I had 4 cans. Okay, 4 cans is normal. A little bit too much than usual, but it's normal. Where are we? Dixie, I watched season 1 on TV when it first released. Thought at the time the camera work was fine. Yeah, at the time we all thought so. At the time we all thought so. No, for when I watched it, I already realized that there was, there was this thing that now everybody calls the season 1 filter. Long gone, but not forgotten. The season 1 filter. Nightmare, I rather hurt my heart eating bacon, but if energy drinks does it for you, you do you. Well, I don't regularly drink them at all. I only drink them for the live streams because, with these things that we are from all over the world, the only reasonable thing that I could do with the stream was to do it at this specific time. The problem is when you are used for the whole week to go to bed at 10, 11 p.m. because the morning after you have to wake up early and go to work, then from a moment to another, in a matter of one day, you need to switch and be at 11, completely awake, completely ready to, do the chat, do the show, because the reality is that a good 70 to 80% of people that are here, they come from that kind of time zone. So, of course it would be much better if I could do it when it's afternoon here. The problem is that if I do that, then it will be night in Canada, the U.S. and Latin America, which is really the vast majority of the viewers that we have. Maybe we would get some more from Europe or Australia. I don't know. But at the time, it seemed like this was the best, possible time frame to do this. And energy drinks help. Energy drinks help. I always try to prepare. Like on Friday, I start going, since we didn't really have a chance to go out in the past months or years, I try to stay awake until 1, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, so that when Sunday arrives, at least I am fresh for the review. And you might say, is it worth it? For me, it is. I like doing the live streams. I like the contact that comes from doing the live streams. I feel like I can be myself if I'm doing a live streams. Every time I try to sit on the microphone and record a video, for example, it feels like I am acting it, and I don't like it. I mean, it is good if I'm covering like a subject that needs to be treated really objectively with a calm voice. In that case, it's good. But I'm not yet in that moment in which it feels like having a conversation for me. If I'm sitting alone in front of my computer recording something that I want to talk about, I'm not yet in that, mental space. And the live streams allow me to be there, and I like that. That's the enjoyable part for me. That's how I want to come off. That's how I want to feel this like a normal conversation, I don't want people to look at this show and think, oh, this person is making a show. No, this person is trying to have a conversation with you and try to build a community with all of you. That's the point. So I like it. If I cannot see a moment in which I would keep doing this show without the live streams. It's first the live stream, then the episode that comes forward. So when it comes, I need my energy drinks. I need them. I know it's not really healthy, but then again, nothing is healthy if you overdo it. And I don't think I overdo it, except for tonight, where I was just thirsty and had this huge bottle, because usually it's like 2 or 3 energy drinks, unless I'm really, really destroyed and I need a 4th. But I had this huge bottle and kept drinking and drinking like water, And I'm like, oh shit, I had too much. Lysander, which queen would you like to see coming back from a game within a game, besides Jada Essence Hall? You are right, there is never enough Jada. More fucking Jada. Yes, we need more. Every time they go, the lip sync assassin is, and I'm like, Jada Essence Hall. It's never Jada Essence Hall. From this season, well, definitely some early out. I would like to see for one more episode Serena or Jiggly, because they really had almost no moments to really shine. You could say the same for Pandora, but at least she was there for 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. But, what about Serena? What about Jiggly? They spent money on the outfits as well. They put their careers on the lines as well. So, I think they would deserve it more. Watermelon, where are you from? We are from Europe. Somewhere in Europe. Jason, Drag Race is now at a point where every week this year we add an episode in some form of another. Do you think this is too much? And is it going to continue this year? It's definitely going to continue. The brand is expanding big time. So we are going to have Drag Race every week from all over the world forever. I'm not going to cover all of that, of course. I will stick to the U.S. seasons, probably just the regular seasons and All Stars. Or if if we really start making like huge money because of the reviews, that I can actually, take time off work and do this at least part-time, maybe we will cover more. But we are definitely going in that direction. A new episode of Drag Race every week. Probably even 2 from different nations. This is the direction. I think it is a good thing. It's better to have a choice and not choosing to watch than wanting to see more and not having actually a choice. I mean, it's a different time. I remember when we used to rewatch the same seasons over and over and over to the point where you know everything by heart. And there was a sort of allure to it. that I miss in a way, because it really starts to feel overcrowded. But I'm willing to give that up if in exchange more states get to have the influence of a national version of Drag Race for them. Because, you know, we can talk all the shit that you want about the show, the editing, the shady things that they do, but when you sum everything up, it's undeniable that it has a positive effect on society. And there are some societies who definitely need this positive effect. So for me, in general, it's a good thing. Now, with that said, people are not numbers, so even if everything adds up to a total of positive, they cannot really undo the negative, because people are not numbers. But in general, yes, for me it's a good thing. And if you're not interested, just don't watch it. Fulani, we appreciate it, and I appreciate you. You keep me company in here, all of you. Nightmare, it's really a good schedule for us listener in America, and the work shows in each episode. Thank you. It's much easier when we have the episodes coming out in Thursday, early Thursday morning. It's like in here, it's like a Thursday at 9 or 10 a.m. when the episodes come out. So we have actually more time to prepare it, apart from, you know, what happened in the past week. It's crazy in the normal season because we get the episode on Saturday morning. So everything has to be done and prepared in time for Sunday evening. And possibly you also have to get, to be a little bit rested, because you don't want to come on Livestream and talk like this, because people will be like, I will watch it to fall asleep. And that's it. You know, for people that are interested, that want to hear, okay, what's going on with this edit? Let's see the charts. Let's see this. Let's see that. And you talk like one word every 5 seconds. It's like, it's not a good listening experience. That I can tell you. Elizabeth, good night from London. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for coming, Elizabeth. Fulani, Pandora was allegedly in those episodes. Oh, shit. That's one of the best use of the word allegedly I've heard in a long time. Nightmare, Jada's crowning when she found out she won and says, I wasn't even supposed to be on. That gives me the chill. You see, sometimes things align in the universe in just the right way. In just the right way. Like literally. The first winner that I was actually cheering up for the whole season was Jada since Bianca Del Rio back in season 6. That gave me the chills. 6 years to get in that state of mind. I was like, I should not get used to this. This is not going to happen again. Like, not anytime soon. So, yes, I will be always here to tell you we need more fucking Jada. And time is always of the essence of beauty. That is something that's never going to go away anytime soon. Also because we really need more Jada. Fulani, yeah, I miss watching seasons over and over. That made you fall in love with the queens. Now I forget who's on what season because another version is already started. Yes, that is something that we lost. That is something that we lost for sure. Especially when you think about this. I know how it might sound for people who tuned in to Drag Race like recently. But back in season 5, Alyssa was not well received. People disliked Alyssa when season 5 was airing. If you went on the subreddit, you would find people saying things, oh my god, Alyssa is so boring. Oh my god, this thing going on with Coco, this is so annoying. This is so boring. Just give it up already. Oh, you were unprofessional. And Coco was right. This is what you would find. It took almost 2 years for people to watch and rewatch and rewatch and realize, oh shit, Alyssa is actually funny. She's iconic. She has so many iconic moments. It took time to do that. It looks like that time is a time that we don't really have anymore. Especially for those who kind of feel compelled or even curious to be like, okay, there is a new season for UK. I'm going to watch that. It's, in English. So if you are from the US or the UK or Australia, it's already your first language. So you're like, okay, I will watch that. I don't need to re-watch before, And with all the amount of editing that we have, with all the things that we see going on with Drag Race, it's not like there is so much shock value that it doesn't really helps for a season longevity. There is not that much of a lure to go back and would you rewatch season 13, for example? Would you rewatch it? I would rewatch season 12. I wouldn't rewatch season 13, like ever. I would never rewatch season 11. Maybe season 10, but I don't know. It feels a little bit too relatable to me. So, But if I didn't have anything else, maybe yes, I would watch them. And maybe I would find out some queens are actually iconic. Who knows? Dixie, in Vancouver, we get the show at 5 p.m. Yes, in the US, from coast to coast, it's, I think, from 5 to... No, not from 5. From 2 to 7 p.m. from coast to coast. Or 2 or 5. I don't remember. I calculated back in the day and realized, okay, this is a good time frame. Lysander, Kandy Ho confirmed Pandora is a drag mom, as proven by her screen time this season. Kandy who? Oh, good God. My name is unimportant. You know damn well that RuPaul has no clue who those girls are after 2 months' time. I agree with that. I think there are like literally especially in the first episodes, I think there are literal people whose job is to go to RuPaul before she does her walk in the workroom and say, okay, you're going to talk with this queen's name this queen's name that. But I wouldn't dismiss the possibility that she asks for their name, like literally there, and then it gets cut off in post-production. Okay, what's your name? Okay, so you are Kandy Muse. Good. So, Kandy Muse, who are you playing for Snatch Game? Oh, let me see. I know that character. I think this is how it goes on. And as a queen, you have to be professional and you have to swallow it. I know how it feels. But one thing, it's part of the job. I know how shitty it sounds. But, if you ever hold a job where you had to deal with answering to someone or shitty colleagues, you know that a lot of these things are just part, of the job and of being professional. Fulani, by the way, Jada SSO follows me on Twitter. You bitch. Go out. You are in timeout for 5 minutes. I hate you. Dixie, same for me. I cried like a baby where Jada won. More Jada now. Absolutely. I was so happy. When I was I was actually doing, well, you were there. But I was actually doing the job for season 12. And I was like, there is no way Jada's going to win. There is just no way. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. And then the impossible happened. And I was like, yes, thank God. Let me have my moment. For once. Just for once. Like once every 5 years, every 6 years. It's okay. Just once. Jason, I love that you're here for my Monday mornings each week. I really do appreciate what you do, and I love how real your reviews are. And then we get to have a chat. I look forward to Monday mornings, and that's weird. No, come on, it's not weird. It's nice. Thank you for the compliment, by the way. It's nice. I try to be. I don't want to reach a point in which you feel the need to be a specific way. And I know, I understand what a lot of people say, because sometimes when I'm really pissed, maybe because something happened in the episodes or the edit was over the top and it pisses me off, and I have a show in which I am pissed off the whole show, and you should see people in the comment, they are like, oh my god, you are so hateful. Things that bother you a little bit, because I try to be active in the comment section. I try to listen to everyone. Maybe some people have good feedback and so on, so I read the comments. But sometimes you go through these things and I'm like, I think I also said it once, this is not a job. If it pays the bill and it becomes a job, then my attitude will change for sure. But it's a hobby. It's a hobby that happens to pay for itself. So if that is the thing, let me be me, okay? I will not always be pleasurable. I will not always be polite. Sometimes I will be pissed off. It happens. Sometimes I will be like really happy and cheering for everyone. But I will not put on a face for my fucking hobby. That's it. Then, if the hobby pays your bills, then it's different. You start understanding that, okay, if people want this, then try your best to give them this. If you cannot, don't try to find a middle way. Don't be so stubborn, because it pays your bills after all. But if it doesn't, let me be free. Let's enjoy this. I don't know if we will ever reach that point, but for now, let's enjoy this. Watermelon. What's your favorite queen in the Italians? Oh my god, there are so many. Alexis Ibarra. Hey, I just got here. How is it going? Well, we finished the review, I think, the double review, I think an hour ago. We're just chilling. Welcome. Fulani, give me a good reason why I should know the difference between Cameron Michaels and Brooklyn Heights. I just don't know who's who. Lysander, there has only been one queen from the start since the promos that I've rooted for, and she has actually won. And it's not even on the main franchise. It was in Spain this year. For me, it never happened as well from the promo. Never happened as well. I remember back in season 9, I was blown away by James Mansfield. I was like, this queen really has it all. This queen is like really iconic. I want her to win so bad. And then she went on first. But you see, if you look at YouTube now, if you look at Instagram, Twitter, and whatever it is that she has going on right now, everyone can see now that she is that legend. So I was not wrong. I was just alone. Or at least we were a few numbers back in the day. Nightmare, Kennedy Davenport and Peppermint, but also Coco Peru and Sherry Vine. They both live rent-free in my heart. Oh, I love Sherry. So much. So much. She's like that old school drag queen I grew up with. And she's vulgar. and she always talks about sex, which works with me. And I love song parodies. It's just something that I always loved since a kid. I would actually make parodies in my head since I was a kid. So that thing really resonated with me. When I found out Sherry Vine, a new world opened to me. A complete new world. So I will never thank YouTube enough for that. Jason, I would so much love to see a European drag race. That would be awesome. It would also be difficult because we have so many different languages and a lot of countries are not bilingual. My original country is not bilingual, for example. I had to learn English. The same for my partner. So you would have to really, you will have to only cast queens who could actually speak English. Can you imagine like 13 queens speaking 13 different languages? It would be a shit show. You need to only cast bilingual queens, which means you would lose a lot of talents and, on the way. But it would also be a good incentive because after all, English is the world's language. That's really the best candidate to be the universal language. It's simple. The grammar is like, there's not much there to begin with. It's very intuitive. It doesn't have too many difficult phonetic sounds. So, everybody should be taught English since they are like 2 or 3 years old, all over the world. It's nice that we have the ability to connect to each other, to speak to each other, especially when we come from different cultures. The potential for exchange, it's like over the limit, and you want to tap into that resource as much as you possibly can. Or at least that's what I've tried to do in my past, and I greatly benefited from it. Flanny, Silky just got mad and told people to spend 500 for a meet and greet. 500 to meet who? Well, 500 for a meet. Well, I don't... Listen, people are free to put whatever price they want on whatever they're trying to sell. And they are free to do that. I will not shame anyone for deciding for a specific price. With that said, I wouldn't even spend a 50 for a meet and greet. I will tip you. That is for sure. But I don't... I am at an age in which, for me, it has no allure to meet someone who is not really interested in meeting me. They're doing it because it's their job, and have the illusion of having some contact and so on. It has no meaning for me. I don't even care about pictures and selfies and so on. So for me, it has no meaning. What I do want is them to know that I support them, and I can do that while tipping during a live show. So I would never do a meet and greet to begin with, unless for some reason there is like an interest there. Like, I don't know, imagine one day that queens actually know that we have this channel and that I will be at a specific place and I'm like, oh, you know what, I'd like to have a talk with you, then I would enjoy it. But, with this, no, it doesn't. I'm not shaming anyone, You do whatever you like to do, and if you enjoy it, good for you. I don't see the appeal for it. Alexis, where are you from? We are from Europe. And we keep it at that. Nightmare, totally. For me, before Drag Race, there was the drag cabaret humor and Sherry Vine's poop comedy. Long live Sherry Vine's poop comedy. Flanny, Thailand was like this. Several different languages. Yes, but it was basically 2 languages. Now imagine literally 13 people speaking 13 different languages. Or maybe Thailand had dialects as well with it, because I caught my partner watching Thailand. I still haven't watched it. And I know that there are, they speak Thailandese. Is that what the language is called? Well, their native language and English. So it's a mixture of the two, which is still acceptable. But, having literally... And then in Europe, we have so many different influences in languages and phonetics that people would get completely crazy. Completely crazy. Lysander, I'm preparing myself for Drag Race virtual competition that's related to pixel art. So we have to draw the outfits and do all the challenges. Right verse, snatch game, it'll be fun. We have a section of in the Discord of the Fantasy League for Drag Race, and we have a lot of people who actually do it and engage into it. So if you're looking for other people, there is that section on the Discord. Just, for putting it out there. Watermelon, I don't like how English isn't phonetic. Well, what I don't like about the English language compared to my native language is the lack of lexicon, lack of words. You know, English is a language that, on one hand, is simple to learn and simple to master. But on the other hand, that simplicity comes at a cost. That most of what you say is context dependent. And that is something that I don't really have in my first language. And I like the idea that we have many, many ways of saying the same thing with different words. And each one of them gives a different meaning. And I think that it's really important, especially when it's your first language, because don't forget that we think in our language. So we are bound to the language that we know for dictating the way that we think. And when you start with a limited language, it's not going to be very easy to see all the shades in between, because the language doesn't make them clear for you. It's much easier if you come from a more complex language. So that is something that I noticed in comparing the two things. Oh my god, who's selling farts? Don't sell farts, nobody's going to buy them. Unless you're Trixie. In that case, you probably get $500,000. My name is unimportant. Cherry wine and peppermint gaga parody. Oh yes. You know, one of the quotes that we always have in our household is, "What the hell happened to the pussy wagon?" I sold it. For what? The shoes. Oh yes, that's how I got to know Peppermint. KM Martinez, I love your videos, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fulani, what language do you dream in? In my native language. I never dream in English. In my everyday life, I think in English. I got to a point in which I actually think in English. And it's becoming difficult to express myself in my native language, because when you speak it like once a month, when I talk to my parents, you start to lose. It's sad, but you start to lose a little bit of fluency with it. I find myself a lot of time having English words coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, oh shit. And I don't so easily recall them, because I don't know when it started. I realized, I think 3 or 4 years ago, that I was thinking in English. But yeah, those times in which I recall my dreams, I think I never really thought of it, but I think yes, that I'm dreaming in my original language, but I cannot really 100% be sure of it. What's a song you want to see in a lip sync that hasn't been done? I want to dance with somebody from Whitney Houston. I need that. I don't think they can afford it, but I need that. Nightmare, after the live stream, let's raid Sherry's telephone parody. I need a good fisting joke. I told you she had a dick. Too bad. I love Sherry. I really love Sherry. And by the way, her channel is sandboxed like ours. So, if you can leave a comment, give her a upvote, it helps. Because she's working her ass off and getting not much recognition for it. I also understand that times have changed, so, tastes have changed and so on. But what's happening to her channel is suspicious, to say the least. Like the least. Nightmare, I want something from ABBA. Give me a man, or the winner takes it all. Oh shit. Well, with some songs it's really difficult because if they are not in one of the catalogs owned by Viacom CBS, they come with a huge price tag with it. Like you could literally pay $70, $80, $100,000 to have a song appear as a lip sync. I know it sounds crazy and outrageous, but some songs literally have that price tag. So some things we will just never see. That's just how it is. Lysander, I Wanna Dance With Somebody was done in Drag Race Holland. I'll take a while till it gets to RuPaul. It will take a while until it gets to RuPaul's Drag Race in the States. I didn't know that. Holland doesn't have a good reputation. I never watched it. I knew that the grand prize was a dress. And I'm quoting, some of the people I talk with in Discord. It was a shitty dress. So it was not good. Drag Race Holland was not good. This is what I hear. So whenever I find time to actually sit back, relax, and watch a season of Drag Race that I never watched or finished watching, I'm going to actually finish watching UK because I lost some episodes in between. I will not finish watching Down Under. I will finish watching Drag Race Canada and start watching Thailand. These are the seasons that I look forward the most. Holland, maybe I'll check out that lip sync. Johnny Boy Toy, I'd like some drag songs from the 2000. I think I would love something from Hedwig and the Angry Inch. That is something that I would like. It's iconic. Or something from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Something like that. Something like really rooted in our culture. My name is unimportant says, on Holland, runways were lovely, but the lip syncs, well, I don't know about that, but I'll check them out. I'll check them out and I will tell you. Watermelon, what artists are too expensive? Is that why there's no Beyonce songs? That depends. It's not like a supermarket that you have a fixed price for your goods. When you want to acquire a license for music, most of the time what happens is that if you have a show or if you have a movie or if you have something that's going to have like a huge monetary impact, they skyrocket the prices for that. For example, I could use a Whitney Houston song in one of my videos, okay? I wouldn't pay anything to use it, but the music company would take all the revenues from the videos. And our reviews make like $30, $40. So, it's not like I'm paying that much for using that song. But if you want to acquire the rights and bring it on Drag Race, then the music company is going to be like, oh... So, okay, if you want to play 2 minutes of this song, you need to give me 60, 70, 80, 90,000, 100,000. There is a reason why the very first season of Drag Race had this very, very old song. Like from the 70s, the 80s, rarely something from the 90s. And then you start when they get a little bit more famous, a little bit more money, around season 4, you start seeing something, more modern. And you cannot always, and you also cannot underestimate the fact that Viacom CBS is a huge corporation and they own Logo TV as well. So if back in the day they had in their music catalog some newest song, they could reach a good agreement with World of Wonder to actually have the song in there. Something that surely would be way less expensive than going from someone from the outside and say, okay, I want the rights to use this song. It's not an easy topic to talk about, but I hope that you at least got to have a little bit of an idea in what it actually takes to use licensed songs in media. Johnny Boy Toy, Drag Race Holland was good. Season 2 started airing on August 6th. It's like 2 days ago. Yeah, I didn't catch up. I didn't even catch up with Season 1. But, Johnny, I need... starting from tomorrow, I have until Thursday, maybe Friday, to empty this room, lay down a laminate floor, then put everything back inside, then edit an episode of The Shop, edit the live stream that we did with Vilma Fingerdo, and then also find time to relax. So I will definitely have no time to watch Holland. And even if I did, I wouldn't watch it. There, I said it. I said it. So I don't know. I don't really know. I'm like living my best life, doing things when I want to do them. This feels good. I think it also comes off that I'm much more relaxed. You know, the simple thing of not having to cook every day, or, you know, clean the house and do the laundry, you know, things like this that my mother insists on doing every single time. There used to be a time in which I said, you don't need to do that. But right now, you know, she's happy that she gets to be a mom, and I am happy that for like 2 weeks, I don't have to do all of these things. It's like just those 2 weeks. Oh, God. Watermelon, thank you for explaining. You're welcome. Don't worry. We're here to do exactly these. Flanny, I like that they use a gospel song this season. They could use some Clark Sisters that was played at the Studio 54 in the 70s. And it wouldn't also cost that much to begin with. You know? But you also have to understand one thing. Most of the lips... one thing that I liked a lot about Drag Race Down Under were the lip sync songs. They were really iconic. They were all from the 70s, the 80s, early 90s. I really appreciated that. It was really one of the saving grace of that season. But I think for, you know, the kind of route that Drag Race took, they would never really do those songs anymore, unless it's something that, you know, that fits in the narrative for a specific episode, maybe the runway theme, maybe the challenge. I would think they would stick to more modern music. Also, you know, because it's different. It's just a different audience. You know, there has always been this thing, even when I was a teenager, that if it's old, it's of poor quality. You know, this kind of things. And, you know, it's something that's been reinforced over and over again. And I think it's still true today. I think if you take somebody that is like 16, 17, 18, maybe even early 20s that say, you know, there is this, I don't know, movie from the 70s was really good. And like, oh, movie from the 70s. Or classical music, or, you know, rock from the 70s, like, it's old, it's not good. So I do understand also why they changed drastically, but I think we also lost something in there. Because some of those songs were really iconic. We went through huge changes in our communities while those songs were playing. So, you know, it's different. It's a different time. We don't have this kind of music anymore because, you know, we gained also a lot out of it. We have a ton of rights that we couldn't even dream of 30 years ago. I mean, I'm still astounded by the fact that, you know, we could get married. That's incredible. To me, it's incredible. You know, like, well, it's not in every state, of course, but here in Europe, we have a European law that everybody has to obey to, that some of your basic rights will be recognized. It's called, it's not called marriage, it's called something else. I don't know the name in English right now. But this is still great. I mean, I grew up in a world that told me that if my partner or me would ever have an accident or something and end up in the hospital, we couldn't even have visitation. Even if you've been together for 20 years, nobody cares. This was, I'm willing to give up not having those gay anthems anymore in exchange for these things. That's what I wanted to say. Alexander, I haven't watched fully season 1, mainly because I have those thoughts of, season 1, it'll be boring. I know what happens, but I haven't fully watched it. Yeah, sometimes the point is, how the book actually ends. But I think it's also a matter of perspective. I try my best to always find the pleasure in the voyage rather than in the destination. And that is really true for Drag Race Season 1, Season 2 as well, Season 3 as well, because there is so much packed in these early seasons. And if you come from that point of view in which you think, I already know what's going on, but the runways are the way they are, but the filters are the way they are, the editing is the way there is. Yes, all of these is true. But if you find yourself in a mindset in which you can go past those things, you will really get an incredible experience out of those. It's like when you watch those old movies from this, great movie producers, really artists, and you're like, I'm not going to watch, a movie from the 50s or the 40s in black and white. I cannot go past that. But if you manage to do, you will see some kind of art. You will get exposed to a kind of artistry that almost doesn't exist anymore. Or if it does exist, it's impossible to find because nobody tries to push it. So, give yourself a benefit of the doubt. That's what I try to say. Marlon, about Holland, the season and the judging was weird, but some contestants were really good and deserved praise. CD Jenny, Mama Queen, Chelsea. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the names. I don't know any of them. Well, I hope they got the exposure from it because, it doesn't really matter which country you participate from. It looks like contracts are the same, all over the world in a way. So I wish they got a good exposure from that. Nora, sometimes I forgot that gay marriage was illegal here when I was growing up. The law was only changed in 2017. Yeah, I know. It's a huge milestone. It's really a huge milestone. And you know what at the time I considered like really strange? That if you were a fully transitioned individual, yes, we had this requirement. You had to have, sex reassignment surgery. But if you went through that, then you could marry somebody of the opposite sex. But then you could marry. And I was like, well, shit. Shit, why can trans people get married and I cannot? I was jealous, But at least it was something, now that I look at it from an adult perspective, you could say, well, at least they didn't fuck up all of us. Somebody got spared. But yes, I remember a time in which it was illegal. You were stripped of basic rights. It's when you think about it, I'm like, shit. It looks like we were living in medieval times. Lysander, I come from All Stars 5, where the season was packed with relatability. The first season I've ever watched was season 8, but the first season I watched when I was released was season 11. You were one of the late bloomer. Well, compared to us, older dinosaurs. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it for tonight. It was great to be back, actually, have a talk all together, do the show. I had an incredible time, and I will definitely see you next Sunday, all of you, for episode 9 of Drag Race All Stars. I hope to have this episode out as soon as possible. What else? I hope I have the live stream with Vilma coming out as soon as possible. I will do my best. But for the moment, we'll be back next Sunday. The Sunday after, I don't know if we will be traveling. I don't know if I will have internet connection. I will let you know. I will let you know for sure. But if that happens, we'll just do 2 episodes at once, like we did this season. Thank you so much for joining, all of you. And come back next Sunday. Join the Discord. You don't need to, be here for every live stream in order to have a talk to all the relatable people. There is a Discord for that as well, with many different sections and a ton of people putting a ton of effort to actually build this community together. So thank you so much for watching. I'll try to go to sleep, even though it will not work. I will definitely go to smoke a cigarette, and I will see you next time. Good night, everyone, or good evening, good morning, wherever you are. And thank you so much for coming. See you soon.